This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE and ECW wrestler, the Blue Meanie. We'll talk wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going, hopefully going well. This is the first time we're, if you're a Patreon member, if you're a Patreon Elite member, you are actually watching this live. We are live streaming right now, I think.
This could be dangerous.
Yes. So I have no idea if we're live streaming. I hope we are. Please bear with us. I know this is another week. Oh, God, the Patreon stuff again. But no, I promise you, this is going to be really exciting if we're able to do this.
Once it becomes the norm, then it'll just be another recording.
Yes, but, just another recording.
It's just a new step in the evolution of this podcast.
Yes, which is exciting.
The live stream and the growth of us as a brand, so to speak.
Like I'm even putting up right now. You can't see it, but I've got our lower thirds popping up here, which is exciting.
I thought
again, I think. So right now while we're talking, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go check it out on our YouTube here, and let's see if I can watch a live stream going on. I can't, apparently, but I'm going to find it. Let's see if I follow our link. So what's up, Meanie? What's going on?
I am I'm a little hungover.
Okay.
We kind of broke quarantine last night and hung out with some friends at their place.
Uh-oh.
Well, no. Normally, before the apocalypse, Mrs. Meanie, I always hung out with our buddy Donnie and Bev, our buddies Donnie and Bev. And we hadn't seen him in months. And this weekend's Tracy's birthday, Mrs. Meanie's birthday.
Yep, shout out to Mrs. Meanie. Happy birthday.
Yes, August 9th. And, it's been lonely in the apocalypse. So we're like, you know what, let's just hang out with some fucking friends. And we did it safe. We went over. We drove over. We don't want to take a cab or a lift and stuff like that, and keep the distance from strangers. So we just hung there, had our cocktails, and then just crashed overnight, and then drove home responsibly. We didn't drink and drive.
Good. We
socially distanced. We just hung out with people we trust and know. And then here we are doing the old podcast.
So and that's one of the big questions everybody has is, and I know my wife and I are trying to figure this out, is that bubble, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants because I think at this point we're all so tired of that bubble just being whoever's in our household that we want to be able to interact with other people. But it does kind of become that concern of making sure that those other people in your bubble are keeping the same kind, that's always been my fear of these is like, well, okay, they're fine. They're only with this one other person, but who's that person with? Who's that person with? So that's why even when you have the people in your bubble, like you did, I think it's important to keep that social distance. But that's my PSA for it. But I'm glad you were able to get out and have a good time and have some, semblance of normalcy. It's always nice.
Well, even when we're hanging out, we go over Donnie and Bev's usually on a Friday. And even like before this whole social stay 6 feet apart, we're always like in different parts of the room. Like I had my
you guys are never hanging on each other,
No, I was always across the room on one couch. Donnie was on his couch across the room. We always were like 6 feet apart anyway. So, and it's the most boring. Well, it's not boring, but like we don't do anything extravagant. We just hang out and drink and watch, fail videos on YouTube or. Our big thing is we like to play Jackbox games. Okay. We play Murder Trivia Party and Fibbage, which Mrs. Meanie is like the fucking Road Warriors on. She's like the queen of Fibbage.
Nice.
It's like, I don't even know what play. You're just going to win. So let's just cut to the chase. So, it was a good time, man. It was good to be around other people. people we trust and we know, because our friends, Donnie, I know they're not stupid. You know, they're. I know they're quarantined like we were quarantining, and stuff like that. So it was just cool to go out, have interactions, and just we had like a pre-birthday party for Mrs. Meanie. They had a cake and all that good stuff, and we had some breakfast this morning, and then we came over here and came to do the podcast. And I'm excited today. We normally don't have guests, like we say we have guest co-hosts. Buddy of mine, Tommy Avallone, who is a director. Now his genre. He started out doing movies, but now his genre has been doing documentaries. Mm-hmm. And I've known him forever, and I've watched his evolution. And he's got a movie right now on Amazon Prime called Waldo on Weed, which is an excellent documentary. And we're going to have him on to talk about the documentary. We're going to talk about the documentary. We're going to talk about wrestling. He's a big wrestling fan too, and it's just going to be like how me and you chat, but just with an extra person in the car this time. So
yeah, and full disclosure to the people watching this live right now on Patreon, our Pod Squad Elite members. We actually just recorded this because we didn't want to fumble through a live thing with a guest co-host for the first time. We thought as much as everyone enjoyed us trying to fumble through the Rodecaster Pro live on the air, we thought at least we'd do that. So the good news is we had some people who got to watch the show early on Patreon last week who were kind of like, oh man, this was so awesome. But now what am I going to do on Monday? Well, the good news is you're going to get an hour interview that is really can't miss. It was such an interesting interview. Again, I'm saying interview. At some point, we're going to give up on this guest host thing and just admit that these are guests that we that we interview.
Yeah, this is me like trying to call wrestling sports entertainment.
Yeah, right. But
it's pro wrestling.
Yeah. So, but we're gonna have him on a little later in the show. So if you're watching this live, we'll give you the heads up of when that's happening. But hey, Meanie, I see behind you a nice Mind of the Meanie poster. Looks really nice. And since we're in kind of a double frame here, you can't see. I can see it, but other people can't. Next to that is an alternative commentary poster. So why don't we just talk a little bit about that? First of all, as if you're listening to this on Monday, go over to wrestlinginc.com. There will be an interview up that Nick Hausman did with DeMeanie and myself. We had a great time. One thing that I did wrong in that interview is I said that alternative commentary will be live on FITE at 8 p.m. It will actually be live at 7 p.m. So there you go. And I already told Nick, I told him right after, I'm like, yeah, it's at 8 p.m. He's like, don't worry, I'll fix it. I'll make sure everybody knows. But yeah, I mean, we had a great time doing that, and that's where those posters came from. We wanted to have all of our stuff. And I'm still hoping in the next month or so that I'm going to be finding my way downstairs. Definitely for alternative commentary because I've mentioned before my son sleeps in my office right now, my newborn son. So obviously it's not going to be ideal to do a watch along with SummerSlam while he's sleeping. So I'll be down in my basement.
You'll be whispering like it's a golf tournament or something like that.
Drew McIntyre sends Randy Orton off the ropes, drop down, leapfrog. Get it again. So yeah, but looking forward to that interview coming out. Again, thank you to Nick Hausman. And thank you to Blue Meanie for allowing me to tag along.
Dude, it only makes sense. I mean, we're a tag team in this thing. Yeah. Like I said, the work you do behind the scenes on this thing is amazing. I really probably wouldn't be doing this without you. I'd just be like a guy talking to myself with maybe like 2 listeners. I don't know.
That's very kind, but I think you, as much as I like to think that all of our listeners they're here for me, somehow I feel like the Blue Meanie may be responsible for the majority here.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. But no, seriously. Man. You deserve to be on all these interviews because, we're co-hosts and stuff like this, and it might be Mind of the Meanie, but it's just a joy to talk to you each week because I know guys who try to do podcasts, like Headbanger Mosh tried to do a podcast, and he was solo, And he's like, man, sometimes I'm just running out of things to say.
Yeah.
And talking to you, I mean, you'll say something and it'll just bring back a memory or jar something that was always there. And this, like, I'll bring it back out into the forefront and talk about it. Like, there's like some stuff I talked about last week. I don't even think I talked about it with Mrs. Meanie, like this story of me being bullied and stuff like that, and the story with Sister Seamus and all that stuff.
Oh, do we have to? She actually has a run-in later on, but here we go anyway. Let's just do it.
Mind of the Meanie, Mrs. Meanie round and Tracy Roots got something to say. Hey, hey, hey.
I was pretty much the extent of her run.
Oh, did you hit the button?
Yeah, he hit the button for you.
Oh, here, I'll come say hi.
Sure,
All right, come say hi.
Keep in mind we're live right now, so. Here she comes. Here comes the birthday.
We are streaming live for our Patreon members.
Doos, everybody.
What? What'd she say?
Say it again.
Butt farts and poopy doos, everybody.
There you go, man. We can't say that. We're gonna have to beep that out. 7-second delay. Hey, a happy birthday. I guess early as it is live now. Early happy birthday live and a belated when people are listening to this on Monday. But happy birthday, Mrs. Meanie.
Thank you.
So what kind of fun stuff do you have planned? Gonna sit inside and
Yeah. Yep.
What kind of like do you do anything like a special kind of cake or is there like a special food you like to have on your birthday?
Funny you mention. I do birthday eggs Benedict.
Ooh. Okay.
So our friends made us breakfast today, and it wasn't eggs Benedict, but it was like close.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute. It was eggs pandemic. It was because we were like, hollandaise is hard. Poached eggs are hard. So we just like substituted everything. It worked.
Nice.
It worked. But it started my 25th birthday. We were flying to
San Francisco. Oh, no, L.A. through San Francisco.
We were going to L.A., yeah. We were going to California. And I saw Eggs Benedict on a menu, and I was like, I never had that. And I was like, I'm an adult. Like, this is what adults eat.
That's an adult meal right there.
So it was every year since. It's my 10th Benedict year.
Wow.
But I don't trust going out right now.
No,
like,
I agree.
People breathe on your food,
Yeah.
They got their booger fingers all over it.
Which when we're not in a pandemic, who doesn't love booger fingers, right?
Sure.
But during a pandemic,
now I'm
we gotta
ultra aware of the booger fingers.
Oh, so Meanie, so your headphones are on, and I don't know if Meanie can hear. So should we just make it seem like we're talking about him?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he definitely stinks.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no way, it's gross.
Oh man, yeah, you'd have to imagine. No, we love the Meanie.
Like he showers and everything, great hygiene, but like I don't know, it's just.
You're gonna get me kicked off this podcast. Hey, but Meanie what do you think of his trimmed up beard?
I did that. I like it.
Then
It's
I
weird.
hope you like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I've been kind of like trying to get him to do it. I mean, I like the big long, but you gotta like trim it so it goes in nice.
Yeah, it'll get back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's still a pretty
Look
pretty
at how
nice
convenient.
beard right there. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give this back.
All right.
I'm doing stuff. I'm painting stuff and sticking
Ooh.
glitter all over everything. I'm crazy right now.
Story of my life.
You're a very sparkly gentleman.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, happy birthday, Mrs. Meanie. That was a good run.
That was a great extended run-in right there.
Yeah.
That was like a run, have a drink of water. Hey, hon, can you give me one of those freezer waters?
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, hey.
Speaking of drinking,
Yeah.
I've got this actually because I knew we were recording the other thing first, so I kept it in a cooler so it'd be nice and cold. A week ago, I was out at Wegmans,
Of course.
and said, you know what? We've got this new Patreon thing. I'm going to ask the Pod Squad which seltzer I should drink.
Why not?
And they and this right now is reminding me I have to go food shopping. But but they voted I put a bunch of different things, and they voted on mango lime. Where are we? There we go. Mango lime. So that is what I am going to drink here.
I have a seltzer too, so let me.
Yeah.
And again, we're kind of like sticking together with the lime theme. I got the Bellevue lime.
Good deal.
From Audi. So we're going to crack these open.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Go birds.
Go birds. There we go.
That's a good one. Good
Really?
job, Pod Squad. So,
yes, sir.
yeah, this is really cool to be kind of streaming this live. It's also a little nerve-wracking. I mean, if something goes really, really bad, we'll cut it out and for the actual show itself. But I mean, there's a lot of people watching right now. So, yeah.
I'm afraid to ask, but don't tell me.
No,
seriously.
It's really cool. We're having so much fun. We're not going to belabor the Patreon point here, but we will say, like, this is some of the fun stuff that we have going on. And this is also great.
It's like when you get a new toy. It's like when you get a new toy, you have to talk about.
Yeah.
And eventually we'll get so used to it, it's just part of the norm, and we probably won't even address it. So,
and we want you, look, we're making sure you're still going to really enjoy your show every week. Mind of the Meanie on the MLW Radio Network. Just shoehorn that in. And we want to make sure you enjoy it. But at the same time, we are having a blast with Patreon. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a alternative commentary episode for a Patreon exclusive. And that's going to be happening. I want to say maybe it'll be live when we do it. And we're going to do that probably next week, I believe. So, if you are an elite member, you have the opportunity to vote on it. And right now, it's kind of neck and neck between a couple of different ones. So it's going to be good though. We're going to have a lot of fun, and So what else is going on? Enough selling our Patreon stuff. I mean, I don't need to even mention the fact that we just launched exclusive merchandise over at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. So what else is going on, man? How was your week?
My week went pretty fast. It seems like and that's the thing I hate about summer. I love summer, but the thing I hate about summer seems to go by too fast.
Especially this year.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of want to get through this pandemic just to get on the other side and get back to a sense of normalcy, but I love summer, man. That's like my my sweet spot, Yeah. I know people who love fall, and I'm like, why?
What though? I'm more of a fall and winter guy, but hear me out.
Okay.
You might be able to see this. No. Oh, that's good. It kind of went away. It was right over there. I got bit this morning out in my garden by I guess mosquito. By one of my children. And
I was trying to feed you. Yeah.
But no, I got bit up. I get attacked by bugs. Like first of all, I don't like it. It creeps me out. If one bug flies by, I feel like 10 of them are on me, even if they're not.
Right.
But in the summertime, I get bit up like crazy.
Same here.
Yeah, walk outside for a second. So that's why fall and winter, if I really had to choose, if someone was like, all year round, you can just choose two, summer's not going to be in there because of the fact that I get bit up all the time. So obviously I enjoy the months that I don't. I love the warm weather, but I'm also like spring, everything's coming alive. It's really good. Summer sometimes can get like oppressively hot. So,
Well, I see spring being a favorite too, because I just like being able to leave my windows open, my door open, just like have a breeze hit me, and let some of the farts out.
Oh.
And spoiler alert, we'll have some more of this conversation.
Talk a little
on.
bit about that later on in the interview. But
more testimony to how destructive I can be. But with Tommy Avallone,
the Energizer Bunny-esque farts the Blue Meanie has, they just keep going and going and going.
Yeah, man. But no, I love spring, and like autumn. Maybe is it like that? That's that.
I mean, autumn's fall, right? Isn't autumn fall?
Yeah, wherever I can be in shorts and a tank top, but still comfortable. You know, I hate being bitterly cold. I hate being overly hot. So it's like the porridge. I like it just right.
Yeah,
so
Goldilocks action there. But for me, I look at it and I think you can put on more and more and more layers. You can, build a fire. You can, if you don't have, heat, but you can do all of that stuff to warm yourself up. You can drink something nice and hot. Yeah, you can drink something cold. But the reality is there are only so many layers you can take off. Like if you're going to sleep and it's hot, that's brutal. Like if it's cold and I'm going to sleep, I can put a sweatshirt on. I can cover up with multiple blankets. If it's hot, I'm screwed. You kick the blanket off and it's like, then what? What else am I supposed to do? Start peeling layers of my skin off? So that's kind of like, to me, as somewhat of a control freak, I appreciate the fact that I can control the situation better. Right. I think that makes sense, right?
Yeah. And, this time of the year has been pretty nice. And with everything that's going on, we're not really going out. We've been utilizing our yard a little bit more. Before I was just there. And like in South Philly, you don't really have a yard. It's just you have a square of concrete and stuff like that. So we've been, we'll go out, at night and just Mrs. Meanie will grill up some food. And we'll just sit out there, and I'll just enjoy staring at the sky and just, like, daydreaming and stuff like that. And it kind of gives me a little sense of normalcy. Another thing I like about summer is, like, the sun's out until, like, 8 o'clock and stuff like that, When it gets, like, dark around 4, and it's just, like, it just, like, really affects my mood. Yeah. It's just, like, I want to go to bed at, like, 4, because the sun's gone. But, with summer... The sun's been out, until like 8:30, and we've been sitting out in the yard. And we've been chewed up pretty bad too. We bought some of that off stuff that you wear out in the yard. And we were trying this one thing, and I think they got used to it. I think these are like smarter bugs that are, mosquitoes and stuff like that. I think they got acquired taste for what we're eating, so we had to get some of the stronger stuff. So we've been doing that, and then like I said, after this podcast we record, we'll probably go out in the yard. And the fun thing is Mrs. Meanie's taking up juggling. Just an activity, just to do, and she's been doing pretty good. And I get a kick out watching her do it and watching her evolve from where she started to where she's doing pretty good right now. She's so talented. She's always crafty doing stuff like that. So just to, sit out in the yard, put on the radio, either listen to music, listen to some rock and roll, or, whenever the Phillies don't get rained out or delayed.
or given coronavirus or,
Yeah, occasional Rona. Dude, have you, I have to bring this up because it's so typical Philly. Have you seen the thing that's been happening with fans showing up at the gate of the game?
No.
Like the Phillies were playing the Yankees, and random fans, like if you go out on the one street, like the one gate, there's one gate where like it's the street.
You can kind of yeah.
So fans have been showing up, and like they're showing up with like a drum line to play drums, and then like when the Yankees were set to bat, like right as the pitch is coming, somebody hits an air horn, and to the point where Aaron Boone, the manager for the Yankees, started complaining to the umpire. Like, come on, guys, get on your game. How are you letting these people hit air horns and drum lines? It's like, what would you do if there was a crowd here, an audience here, and they were heckling and booing? This is like 8 people. So now that the Aaron Boone, or Karen Boone, if you want to call him that, started, with the whole thing of no air horns. If you say that South Philly residents are like pro wrestlers. If you want them to do the opposite, if you want them to do something, tell them to do the opposite. So he did the equivalent of Iron Sheik saying, "No say USA, no say USA," because now I guarantee you more people are going to be showing up with like air horns or slide whistles or whatever, just to be trolls, to the visiting teams and stuff like that. But that's like been the I listen to talk radio every day. I listen to Marks and Reese and stuff like that. Shout out to them. I love those guys. And they were talking about it, and that's like been I mean, there's really not much going on besides the Flyers doing well. Our fans heckling during the stadium-less games has been pretty fun.
Yeah. Hey, so also you talked about your backyard. I saw on social media that you guys are going to be painting the wall in the backyard. That's pretty cool for some nice new, I guess, show off some merchandise, do things like that. I know Mrs. Meanie has been going nuts with that camera, taking awesome pictures. So,
dude, Mrs. Meanie's been killing it with the camera. Like, it's weird when you see when you're just out there and just looking at the sky. Mm-hmm. There'll be different birds, different things. Airplanes flying over. So she's been doing really cool things with the camera. She bought the camera to do her Mrs. Meanie run-in videos, but she's been really utilizing it as far as taking really good still photos as well. And then, like you said, we have South Philly don't have like a traditional yard. We have like front of us wooden fence, next to us wooden fence, but for our reason we have this like cinder block wall, and it's been like painted like real shitty since we've been here, and we never really noticed. I was like. And when I get, like a little inside baseball here, like anytime I get like a new pro wrestling T-shirt, or last week with the food box, I took a photo. There's a brick wall down the street from my house. I walk down the street.
Man, it's a cool backdrop.
I'll pose with that as a backdrop, or if I have different shirts, you see me like walk down the street with like 8 different shirts, and I'm doing wardrobe changes with the T-shirts, and Mrs. Meanie's taking the photos and stuff like that. But we got this perfectly good wall in our backyard.
Yep.
So when we finished last week's show, we made a trip down to Delaware. Take advantage of some of the tax-free shopping. But we went to Lowe's in Delaware because the Lowe's in South Philly is just like out of control. Like all the stores in South, just overcrowded. So we went down to Lowe's in Delaware and we picked out some paint, and we bought some stuff just to take the paint off the wall. Mm-hmm. So we'll be scraping. That's the process. You got to scrape the paint off, and that, in a way, that's like a.
Can you get like a power washer? Would that take it off?
Well, she's been doing a pretty good job of taking off some of that paint with just a regular hose on the high.
Oh,
thing.
Nice, yeah. So,
but we got the wire brushes and stuff like that. To scrape it off. But eventually, we're going to paint it to match our grill. It's like a terracotta color. Yeah, we have a terracotta pig grill, so it's kind of like that kind of color scheme. But it's just something nice to look at while we're out in the yard, and take advantage of having a wall in the yard where I can, like you say, pose for merch, show off different things, and just something to do to give you some sort of sense of normalcy.
Absolutely. Because things are, we're rolling here. You were talking about the different months and different seasons that we like and we enjoy. And I've always, with you were talking about winter, how you can get kind of depressed. Well, normally for me, like I as it goes on, you got Halloween, which I've always loved. I love the time period and things are decorated. Then you've got Thanksgiving period, and then you've got that, for me, Hanukkah and Christmas now, because I wanted Christmas so badly, I married into it. But
it's a wise investment.
Yes. So. Well, I am Jewish. We're live. So
we're live, pal.
So I've always loved that winter season, the Christmas lights up, the music playing. I always just loved it. Always just gave me a good feeling, and I'm certainly not alone in that. And then January 1st rolls around, and you're just like, all right, the snow that looked beautiful yesterday is ugly as hell today. It's cold. It's bitter cold. It's no longer, let's have some hot cocoa. And it's so wonderful. Like now it's just like, oh my God, this is brutal. And unfortunately, I feel like that goes until around like March, when it's like springtime or so. March,
Right.
April, May, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
This year, instead of when it was like, okay, the weather's going to change and now everything's back, now things are good again. It's spring. It's a rebirth. That was when the door slammed shut and the virus happened. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we've never really been able to recover from the, that gloomy feeling that happens January 1st when you're, it's almost like January 1st is like January 1st to like the middle of March is like your hangover from the partying of the 3/4 of the previous year. Right. And then you're just hungover until finally you're like, okay, now we're ready to party again. And I just, man, it has been all that to say, I'm going out of my mind and ready to go. And thank God we have this show every week. And we've got all these other, people that are just, oh my God, you have alternative commentary you're going to be doing now. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, the more shows we can possibly do, if I could be doing shows 7 days a week, so at least there'd be some sort of, a different show happening every day. So,
Right.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
It's me.
And it's stuff you got to do. Like I said, I constantly have a show going on in my head anyway. Growing up with women and being used to waiting and stuff like that. Like, as a kid, my grandma would always take me to the hair salon while she was getting her hair or nails done. And I'd have to sit there and wait. Or, my mom would take me somewhere for one of her appointments. I'd just sit there and wait. And that whole time I'm there, I'm thinking of like wrestling promos, and I can't wait to grow up to be a wrestler and stuff like that. So now that we're in the, the apocalypse, like, if I have a moment just to myself, I'm sitting here just thinking of stuff I've done or things we could do and stuff like that. But you said, Christmas is a beautiful time of year, in South Philly especially, because one of my favorite things to do is like walk around Philly. Like there's some, like almost like every other block has like Christmas lights that go across the street from house to house, and it goes down the entire block.
What's the real famous, there's a famous street that has that. That's like,
I want to say that's
in a Bradley
near
Cooper movie.
Oh my God. I want to say that's near McCusker's. There's a little side street right off of Oregon Avenue.
Yeah, that seems right.
Around 15th, 16th, and it's like a little cul-de-sac, but it's lit up beautifully and stuff like that. And people, go down to that area and check it out and stuff like that. Yeah. But this city looks beautiful around Christmas time and stuff like that. But like you said, once January 1st hits, it's just like gray. It's like, the snow that was beautiful for Christmas now, it's got tire tracks in it and stuff like that. It's like,
there was a house not too far from where I grew up, and they would go crazy for Christmas, and they would set up these decorations, and you would actually park your car on the street. The police would come to it was free, but people would get out and they would walk through, and it was like all this whole crazy setup. And last year there was something where they're like, we're not doing it this year. And I forget why it was. They're like, and next year will be our final year doing it. And I think the people are getting older, and cause I remember this from when I was a kid, and, maybe they're planning to sell or whatever. But now I'm wondering, I'm like, well, you're not gonna have people just walking through it this year. So who knows what they're going to do. And the nice thing is, we've gone every year with my kids to, I can't remember where it is, but it's this giant farm, and you just drive through, and they have this amazing light show. And, you put some Christmas music on, and you go through, and it's awesome. And I'm hoping that the virus should not affect that. Now, normally we'd park, and then we'd go in, and you'd get some cider, you'd get some whatever. Obviously, we're not going to do that, but you'd think that you could still do the driving through the lights. So hopefully that's something. I mean, I know this is very timely in the middle of August to be talking about this. Welcome to the Christmas episode of Mind of the Meanie. But I guess we're all just looking forward to something. Like, I'm even trying to figure out what we're going to do for Halloween at this point. I've been coming up with scavenger hunt ideas for inside my house. so my kids can go find candy, like a la Easter, you know? But I'm like,
you're rebooting you're doing a remix on a classic or something
yeah,
like that.
because we're not going, what are you going to do? Like, oh, happy Halloween. We've all been inside for so long. Let's go have a bunch of kids stick their hands in to get candy out of the same thing and have strangers hand it to you. Like, you know, honestly, these have been kind of ridiculous in the long run. You know, the fact that that's like, or in the past when you really think about what Halloween is and trick-or-treating is. Yeah. But yeah,
it's it's you kind of have to steal premises from like Gilligan's Island or whatever. Yeah. What would they do on Gilligan's Island when they're the only people there and there's no one around and stuff like that? So you kind of have to just be creative. Yeah. I mean, are they going to do like drive-through trick-or-treating? Like, I know a lot of stand-up comedians are doing stand-up shows at drive-in movie theaters,
which is a great idea.
Yeah, they're people drive in with their cars, they're by themselves, and the comedian goes on stage and does his set, and there's bands are doing that too. They're doing concerts at drive-in movie theaters, which is pretty ingenious. Yeah, but like you said, when it comes to Halloween, what do you do? And like with the Christmas lights, they say, last year they said this year was going to be the last year. Are they going to, maybe do a last year? Yeah, get a rain check on that one. So
yeah, I there's the band Bare Naked Ladies. They do every summer. They do the Last Summer on Earth tour. Okay, and they'll always have like other like 90s. Alternative rock bands with them and stuff. I think they had like Toad the Wet Sprockets were going to be with them. Really just where you're just like, wow, I literally haven't heard of them since the 90s,
Right.
But,
they're a good band.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm a fan of theirs.
Walk on the water.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Just walk on the water. Yeah.
I remember I tried to learn how to play that on guitar, and it was deceivingly difficult.
Really?
And I was like I remember I was like, you know what? I could probably play this. That'd be pretty easy. And I'm like, these. I mean, this was a while ago, and I'm a little better now. But some of the chords, I was like, these are some tricky chords in here.
They were doing pretty good, and then I think the lead singer went and made fun of like Kurt Cobain killing himself or something like that.
Yeah,
in some interview, and people were like, okay. You're done,
really wet that sprocket. But I think they were going to have like Gin Blossoms as well, and they said that. So anyway, they've been doing this. The reason they call it Last Summer on Earth tour was, what was it? Was it 2012 maybe, or when was the world supposed to end? Remember?
It pretty much ended now.
Yeah, but no, remember there was the whole Mayan calendar thing, and that was it. It was like the summer before, so they named it the Last Summer on Earth tour, and they've been doing that all the time. And now I just saw they're selling masks that say the Lost Summer on Earth, and it's like because obviously they canceled their stuff, and they're but there's so many cool things like that people can do, not comedians. And I know on our video show we talked with Taylor about this, where he was like, you can't just kind of stand there with no audience and do your set. It's not really like, he's like, some people can. He's like, I can't really do that. But I know like Stephen Page, who was the lead singer of Bare Naked Ladies, he's been doing, and tons of other artists are doing this too. He's been doing these at-home concerts where he's legitimately selling tickets to like a Zoom call, and he just goes and plays for a couple hours, that's
amazing.
Just so cool. The problem with it is, to my knowledge, it's live and you don't get to see it afterwards. So I have never had a time where I'm able to just sit there, with having 3 kids and stuff. I wish like if this was something I could pay for and then get like the recording of it, then I would just sit at night and just watch. This would be so cool. And, but yeah, whatever. So Stephen Page, if you're listening,
yeah, please put it out. Because Mrs. Meanie did a similar thing, because she's a big fan of the, if you remember that show, The State. It's a comedy group from the 90s, The State. Yeah. Most of them went on to be in Reno 911 and all that stuff. They did a live Zoom show where they did live reenactments of some of their skits from the MTV show they did. And they're slowly starting to put stuff out on their YouTube page. So far they've at least put out one, and it'd be cool if, like you said, the dude from Bare Naked Ladies put it out. Or I'm sure there's somebody out there who probably has a screen capture or whatever.
Somebody's recording it. Yeah. I got while you were talking there, I just got a text message, my group family chat, and it's pretty funny. I think my mom might get mad at me for reading this, but she sends a message to me and my brother and sister that she got this email. Do you think it's real? And it's like, and she encloses like a link, manage your Apple ID. And it's like, clearly not. So my brother says, not at all. He's like, it's just like a phony login. And she's like, I'll forward you the email. He's like, I don't need to see it. It's fake. Like, please don't forward me your spam email. So that was just distracted me for a moment. But put that on airplane mode. But yeah, you gotta love that. Yeah, when the elderly are sending, I shouldn't say she's elderly. She's not elderly. There's
a period of time when Mama Meanie wanted me to teach her how to use the computer, and I did everything to distract her from me even coming close to that.
That's amazing.
It's like I was afraid of her using the microwave, let alone using a computer. So it's just like, and I'm not speaking ill of her. It's just like,
no,
I love Mama Meanie to death, but like,
you know what? It's a generational thing, and I think sometimes I don't know if it's like as we get older, if it's just our brains or if it's just what you come up with, but like, I got to tell you, if anything needed to make me feel old, it was when my daughter was old enough to start figuring out how to use like a tablet or a phone. Like she was like 2 years old and would take our phones and just swipe them open, and we had to put password protection on our phones. And then she would just start pressing the buttons and lock us out of our phones. But she figured out how you could swipe and get the camera, because you don't have to unlock your phone to swipe and have your camera. And we would just be looking at our phones, and we would go in to look at a picture and just be like, what is this? What is this 11-minute video? And it's just, you just see nothing until eventually you realize it's because my 2-year-old daughter was running around the house just holding onto the phone. And but now she learns this stuff. She has a tablet, and I really didn't want to give my kids tablets. And then I realized this is the world they're living in. They have to be able to learn how to use this stuff. But I'm
sure she figured out way quicker than I ever could.
Oh my God. My wife and I spent so much time trying to figure out how to set up this tablet. And also it's a, what is it? The Amazon something or another. So it's not a Mac, and everything else we have is Mac based. And so if it was an iPad, I would have easily been able to figure out how to set the things up.
Was it
I have an iPhone.
Was it like a Kindle or?
It's something. It's like an Amazon Fire. Or, no, maybe it's not.
I think you're right. I think it's Amazon Fire.
Yeah. So, but it's really, so we got this for, it was a lot cheaper than the iPad. And, I looked at it and said, if I'm buying an iPad, it's for me, not for my kid. And my wife has an iPad. I've never owned an iPad, but my wife has one. She has the first ever. And she, in the last couple of years, had to stop using it because she couldn't, it wouldn't accept the updates anymore. Wow. So it was so old. So she's like, I guess I have to, but yeah, but my daughter just, it's crazy. She can just go through and do this. And then I've got my son who's starting to learn it, but he goes over and we put something up on the TV and we're not moving fast enough to put something on the TV. So he goes and tries to press it on our TV, and we're yelling at him this is not a touch screen. This is a television. Please do not try and move things on. But you look at it from a kid's point of view, and why wouldn't you be able to go and touch that? It was something that never occurred to me was going to be an issue, but.
Yeah, I grew up in an era where I was the remote control for the TV, where my grandfather would be like, Brian, go change the channel. Yep. I can't find my clicker. Go change the channel. And then, back then we had the choice between regular TV and UHF.
Yeah.
So if it was someone on a UHF channel, you had to turn a totally different knob and stuff like that. But then eventually they got remote controls, and you're just hitting a button and it's turning And there was no way, like, if you passed the station, you were screwed because you had to go all the way through the whole rotation just to get back to that channel again. Whereas if you were standing right there, you could go back. But just to imagine what a kid sees now.
Yeah.
And like you said, your son thought the TV was a touchscreen.
Yeah, and my first thought was like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's 3 years old, and it's pretty impressive that he's figured that much out already. At least to me, I don't know. I didn't know what a touchscreen was until I was, way older.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So what else is going on, man? What else is happening?
Just everything, man. Thank you for everybody who took advantage of our sale on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yes.
I'm not working into a plug, but also, thanks to the folks who took advantage of our sale on Pro Wrestling Tees, and thanks for the people who've been buying stuff from Mrs. Meanie's Etsy page. Like I said, I'd rather be, it's summertime. This is prime, convention season, indie show season. Mm-hmm. And without being able to go out and mingle with fans and, do meet and greets and just talk to people.
Yeah.
And like before this whole apocalypse, I had like 6 conventions lined up and I bought all this merch and stuff like that. So I just been staring at it. So Mrs. Meanie is like, hey, let's do little, fun packs. So she put together, a couple of my pins, a trading card, and the BWO guitar pick. And, people have been kind enough to buy those. And, that guitar pick right there.
I didn't buy it, though. You gave it to me, so I'm not supportive.
Well, you're a guitar player, so you played the Mrs. Meanie theme, so it's
there
cool.
You go. Oh, yeah, it's a little...
it all works out. Yeah.
Little behind the scenes there. The masterpiece that is the Mrs. Meanie running guitar riffs were by me.
Which I once I hear her running song, I'm singing it to myself throughout the
Well, that's
day.
all on her. She wrote the song.
Oh, no.
I just
catchy.
played the, I think, 2 chords.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more chords than I know. But, just... the fans throughout this thing have been really cool. Shout out, I try to shout out a fan every now and then. Shout out to my buddy Steve Goff. He's been helping out a lot too, behind the scenes and stuff like that. He's a sound engineer and he's always offering to help out and stuff like that. And he does, great stuff. And I've known him forever. And he just went and got a Meanie shirt and a guitar pick and stuff like that. So it's cool to see, when your friends and the fans and friends support you through a hard time. Times like this, you realize who your real friends are and stuff like that. And, I got a small, like you said, a small bubble that, it's been getting smaller. But, it's really reassuring, to see who cares and stuff like that, people who help you when, even when you don't ask for it, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Can we help out and stuff like that? So I've been very fortunate in that sense.
Yeah, man. Hey, we all got to take care of each other in this crazy, crazy time.
Are people still watching?
Let's see. Let's check in.
You haven't scared anybody off yet?
We still got people watching.
There we go.
And hello to those people who are watching. Oh,
hello.
I was wondering what this sound was. Well, apparently, let's see if we can click to view comments. And I think I can just drag this in. Whoa. Steve Goff with a...
who I was just talking about.
I don't have to show you. It's on here. He just... isn't that so cool?
I don't know if I could see it.
Can you? Well, no, you can't see it, but I think other people can see it.
It'll be on the broadcast?
Yeah, it should be. Let's see. I'll go into... This is some good listening. I'm going to go in because we're on a little bit of a delay to see if it actually has picked up.
Actually, can you send me that link on my phone?
Yeah. I mean, it's only for elite members, so...
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it does show up. Yeah. See, look. See it?
That's pretty cool.
There you go. Very cool. All right, Steve, we're taking it off now, but yeah. So apparently, Steve is one of the viewers right now, and that is really cool. And look, we're not going to go into a great long plug, but that is some of the cool stuff. I mean, honestly, we didn't even know that people could be commenting on here and that we could be putting it on the screen. But yeah, Steve, he's back. You know, he says, "Hey fellas, it's the high-tech interaction that keeps us coming back." Well, no one's ever really accused us of being high-tech before, so I appreciate that. We're absolutely trying.
But no, if it wasn't for Josh, and it was just me, you'd be watching this thing on a fucking what's that fucking called? Etch-a-sketch. God damn it. Fucking words.
Yeah, all right. Let's shake up this Etch-a-Sketch and
let me shake up my head and try to get new memories on there. But,
hey, you know what?
Yeah, if it wasn't for you, we'd be broadcasting on an Etch-a-Sketch. So,
hey, you know what though? At this point in time, we talk about if it wasn't for our pod squad, but if it wasn't for our sponsors as well. So I want to talk just for a moment here about our sponsor, Eat Right. Eat Right, man, dude. How have you been enjoying your food?
Dude, eatright.life. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Meanie has enjoyed it too because she hasn't had to cook for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's given her a break. But no, the food has been fantastic. They send it. I ordered it on Wednesday. I got it on a Friday, and every day I've had ready to go meals. And you go, oh, how good can food be if it's being shipped in the mail and being packaged and stuff like that? Dude, it is like legit. Like the chicken, you know,
the answer is really good.
Yeah, the sauces they use, you know, I just put in my order the other day, so I should be getting it packaged any day now, or probably should get it today. But seriously, the steak, I just ordered the steak bowl. The meatballs were fantastic. Everything I ordered, even the fish, which I should have thought ahead. You know that's the whole thing. What's the story? You never microwave fish because you can't get this. But like I microwaved the fish, the mahi fish, and it was fantastic. And you know you wouldn't expect the food to taste that fresh. You know that's being sent to you, but their food is. And I'm rehashing this line from last week, but like if a fat guy tells you food tastes good, it's like getting a good stock tip. So
that line got over last week on social media.
But it's the truth. It's the truth. You know, like I had a buddy who I would drive over his house, and I knew the directions were right if he told me liquor stores. You know, you go to so and so liquor store on Broad Street, make a right, then there's such and such wine distributors.
He's not mixing that up.
No. My directions were on point. But like, eatright.life, man.
Yeah.
And besides the fact that the food's great, it's being, they do a lot of work with veterans and stuff like that. So
well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that because they're a veteran-owned lifestyle meal company that offers an array of customizable products, including conventional meals, ketogenic plant-based alternatives, which I've been enjoying, healthy protein donuts, which I am going to send an email and ask for, and breakfast to satisfy all lifestyles. So they actually, I contacted them and I said, hey, I know I'm on the plant-based, but I'm not vegan. So I was like, I'll eat eggs, I'll eat fish, I'll eat, so they actually just sent me, I haven't had it yet, and I should have had it this morning before we recorded because they just sent it yesterday, these like egg bites. And I almost don't want to call them egg bites because they're gigantic. They're so big and they look so good. And that's for breakfast because I wanted to have some breakfast in there too. And I've heard good things about these donuts. And donuts, that is my kryptonite. So I need to, if sarcasm is my superpower, donuts is my kryptonite. There's another T-shirt for you. But I had the other day, I had to look it up because I posted about it. The Moroccan crumble ragu was amazing.
I had that.
Did you?
No, that was fantastic.
So good. I was like, all right, we'll see what this is. Moroccan crumble, I'm like, you had me at ragu, but let's see. Dude, it's so good. Eat Right knows the importance of transparency and technology in modern life. Each meal includes a barcode with every meal, allowing its members to track every step of their progress on MyFitnessPal, which is amazing. As somebody who had stood there in the past when I was on a diet asking my wife, so what would you say? How much, let's break out the ingredients. Did you throw away the cans yet? Did you, and people don't care for that. Eat Right knows the importance. I already read that, but they also still know the importance of transparency. They're a Tampa Bay operation. They are based out of a 13,000 square foot certified kitchen where they pride themselves on guaranteeing a home-cooked meal experience every time. I was so blown away by this food. My wife had asked me, how was it? And I let her have some as well. I have no power. But I told her, I said, it's really good. And it's not like mail order food really good. It's regular, I'm at a nice restaurant food really good.
It is.
Because there's sometimes you can be like, hey, for what it is, it's not bad. And, so it's...
For what it is, it's really great.
Yes, for what it is, it's really, really great.
Especially if you're... my biggest weakness is portion control. Because if there's anything left over, I'm going for seconds.
Yes.
But with this, they send you a meal, and what you eat is what you eat. And when I finished eating, I felt satisfied, and it helped me, watch what I eat. So, if you're looking for a meal that tastes great and is good with the portion control, this EatRight.life is fantastic.
And on top of everything else, time is money. So if you're trying to achieve your health goals, but you don't want to prep your food and spend all that time, because it is a time commitment, and some people really, truly don't have that time. This is for you. This is absolutely for you. And if you go now to EatRight.life and use the promo code Meanie, you will save 60% on your first week's meals. That's 60%. You're going to get 2 meals a day, 5 days a week. It'll all come all at the same time. It's all being refrigerated when it's delivered. Put it right in your fridge. You're good to go. But man, 60% off. What do you have to lose? Just give this a shot. Tell them that Mind of the Meanie sent you. Use that promo code Meanie and save 60%. We're practically giving it to you at that point. So again, that's EatRight.life. We really appreciate them sponsoring Mind of the Meanie again this week, and really appreciate them sending us food. Even more so than the sponsorship, I just enjoy the food that you're preparing for us. So thank you so much to them. And you know what? At this point, I think maybe it's a good time for us to go into our interview and welcome our friend on here. What do you think?
We usually don't have guests, but we usually have guest co-hosts. And this is another guest co-host, and I'm very happy for this one. I'm very proud of this one. It's a dude I've known for years. This is a dude I've seen grow in the film industry, and I've been very fortunate to be part of some of his films. He has a very good documentary on Netflix right now, The Bill Murray Stories, because there's more than one. And also a very good documentary right now on Amazon Prime, which I really enjoyed, called Waldo on Weed. So everybody in Mind of Meanie land, please say hello to Mr. Tommy Avallone.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
So, in case you used the video, I just want to let you know that I did dress like Duke the Dumpster Drosy for you today. I just thought...
I was going to ask how you felt about that time when you had a hair versus hair match or whatever and had to shave your head. And isn't that how Duke the... I don't know. That's all I remember from Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
It sounds about right. I mean, like, just because I dress like him doesn't know I know his autobiography. But I was... My son likes trash men and trash trucks.
Sure.
So we are trash people, trash men, or whomever for Halloween, and I made mine to be Duke.
That's awesome.
There you go. This is my present to you guys today.
Dude, that's what I love about you. You always had something, this spirit about you. How I know Halloween's your WrestleMania and stuff like that, and as is Mrs. Meanie's, but
nothing like her. I mean, I'm in your house compared to her WrestleMania for Halloween. Right,
very well taken. Yeah, man, you're killing it out there in Hollywood. How's things going? You did the Bill Murray stories, and now you got Waldo and Weed on Amazon Prime. How's that good? How did that come along, and how's that doing?
Well, I mean, like, so Bill Murray was like my version of a hit. I mean, there's real people's versions of hits, and then there's my versions. But like, we're on Netflix now. We're on airplanes. Like, I never had a movie on an airplane. But like when we were playing some of these festivals, we were selling out like 700-seat theaters like 3 nights in a row, and we didn't do like any advertisement, and it's like, oh, because it's like Bill Murray's name's in the title of your movie. Like, I knew it was never, and not to say it was easy, but it was never going to be that convenient again, especially knowing the fact that my next movie was about a 6-month-old child who has cancer and they're using cannabis oil to fix it. And it's with people you don't even know, So it's like,
not exactly the same. Oh man, can't miss that,
Yeah. I mean,
but they shouldn't miss it.
No, I completely understand.
Yeah.
Like, there's this great movie called Dear Zachary. It's a documentary, and it's just a heavy movie. And like, I wanted to watch it for like years, and then eventually I watched it and it stayed with me for like a week. But it's like one of those things that you think, oh well, I don't know if I really want my Saturday to be watching about this, but it's an uplifting story, and it's not like negative, and it's, Waldo's 6 years old now, and it's very healthy and happy. So it's a good story, but it's like, I just knew Bill Murray's name wasn't in the title. It wasn't about Ghostbuster fans. It wasn't about Santa Clauses with Mick Foley. Like, there was no pop culture. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg was our EP, but like, she's not in the movie, so I just knew it was going to be different.
So I have a question, because I've had, like most people, a million ideas. Oh, we should make a documentary about this. We should make a documentary about that. I'm much more aware of like scripted, how you go about with storyboarding and writing a script and everything. With a documentary, I'm assuming, there's no, for instance, let's talk like Waldo and Weed. You didn't know when you started that, like, okay, and here's how we're going to end it. Right. Like, how do you plan out? How do you plot out a documentary when you're starting out? You've got an idea, but you have absolutely no idea where this story is going to go. How do you even keep that in your mind, even keep track of all this footage that maybe you've even compiled? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, like, all the other, like, for like, when I first wanted to start making documentaries, I reached out to some people whose documentaries I really enjoyed. One of which was Barry Blaustein from Beyond the Mat. And a lot of these people, Barry himself would say, it's like, if you make the movie you planned on making, you didn't listen to your talent, because it's like, there should be some educated guess and you're following these people, but like, if you're steering them to a direction, might as well just write the script,
Sure.
Santa Claus was the movie I did with Blue Meanie is in. I Am Santa Claus, that was one of those movies where we had really no idea what was going to be happening. We're just following these people, and we're checking in from time to time and letting their stories kind of dictate how we're going to go. Whereas Waldo and Weed, by the time I started working on that, Waldo was 3.5, and Brian, the father, the whole crux of the story is the dad was filming on a flip cam the whole time. So like, this whole procedure and him like smuggling this cannabis oil from Los Angeles to Philadelphia was already documented. So a good part of our story was already there. So it was really just kind to try to do the best way we can to tell the story that already happened. Okay. And then kind of checking in as things progress, like they moved to Washington and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's I guess it's different each time, depending on where your entry point is. Like Bill Murray's stories was just as simple as, well, let's document all these people who've had these stories. But the difficult part of that was trying to, where does the narrative come in? How do you tell a left to right sort of story?
And how do you? How do you when you have no? I guess without walking us through, this is every single step of how you make one. How do you? Do you just basically, we're going to get as many interviews, then you just look at all of it and say, okay, how do we make this something that works? How do we use their stories, pieces of their stories, to create a larger story?
Right. I mean, like, so So you research Bill Murray stories, you Google Bill Murray stories, right? And you see what are the top ones. Who can from these stories can we reach out to, right? So you're getting the Austin South by Southwest stories. You're getting the New York karaoke kickball stories. You're getting all these different stories from South Carolina and stuff like that. So you just kind of like you're gathering. You're just like getting all these people who will talk to us. Who can we get access to? What footage or videos or pictures can we get? And then we're just kind of like filming us traveling on the way because we assume that might be a part of the story. There's a lot of documentaries that the director puts themselves in the movie and it's awful. Morgan Spurlock and Michael Moore, they do it wonderful, but like I could tell you off camera like at least 5 that don't, and so like I really studied that because we figured I was going to be in it in some way, and as Brian knows, I do ham it up from time to time. So the main thing, the main thing about that was like, how do I cut that out? Because like really people like when their friends ham it up, but they don't like it when a stranger hams it up for the most part. So it's usually like, who's this guy? And it's just so annoying. So we just tried to keep my character as the journalist that kind of put you through this, like string this thing up. So it wasn't a whole bunch of like online vignettes.
So you're more the tour guide rather than the guy putting on a show.
Yeah, and not the tour guide that's trying to be discovered, like.
Right.
But then doing some of these stories and hearing some of these things and reading enough about, like most people when they're reading Bill Murray stories. I mean, look, let's give credit. Brian is the one who told me my first Bill Murray story. So if it wasn't for that, I would never have made the movie. I remember sitting at my apartment. I think before we had Fuddruckers, which is another one of my loves.
Yes.
He told me about someone put their hand over their eyes and said, no one will ever believe you in a urinal. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. And then I just kept hearing more. But you don't hear them back to back like that. But so when you do start doing that, you kind of hear like some of these key words like living in the moment, being available, being present, all that sort of stuff. So you just kind of like these things kind of come to the top. So it's like, well, how can we string this together? Because this is obviously what he's saying and what he's trying to do. And you do some research and you see that he studied this philosopher, Gurdjieff, who would, try to wake people up. Del Close from Second City was all about waking people up. So you kind of just try to spring some of that smartness in some of the funness and then tie it all together.
One of my favorite things is we try to recreate me telling you your first Bill Murray story.
Yeah.
And we're filming at my favorite bar in the world, McCusker's. And we're filming the scene where I'm telling him the story. And as I'm telling him the story, Doug, the bartender from McCusker's, who told me the story, and I hadn't realized this, butts in and goes, "You're telling the story wrong." And I didn't realize this whole story that I told to Tommy, I was telling the Tommy wrong, and then Dougie popped in to tell me the story because Dougie told me the story. I told Tommy the story, and I've been telling it wrong all these years, and still inspired this great documentary.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's we tried to film that, right? And it was like it just kind of stood out as like there wasn't any other reenactments with me in the movie. But like what I tried to make fit was him going, "No, you're telling it wrong," and then him going and telling the story, because that was like the one Bill Murray story that I don't want to say was wrong, but was like heavily whispered down the lane. Because there's always so many different versions of hands behind, covering the eyes, turn around, no one will ever believe you. It was urinals, it was New York City. I mean, he probably did it a bunch of different times, but there's never pictures, there's never these things. So it was like that was like the one. And we did a reenactment of it. And there's the mask in the background. But like, that was my favorite, one of my favorite stories. But it was the one that we're like, well, I don't necessarily know if that's real or how we would document, because there's never been like a story that's like so-and-so. It's always, yeah, my buddy's uncle's brother happened to the bar, So
it's like that story. It's like that game called Classroom where you tell the one person in front of the class the story and he has to tell it to everybody.
Yeah, well,
he tells it one person, he tells them, and by the time he gets to the end of the class, it's totally something different.
Whisper down the lane, pretty much, or
Well,
telephone, there's like a million different names for that, but that's real life. And then you have to wonder how many people have interjected just made up stories of it, like, because
Or
again,
just-
you can't in the same way no one will ever believe you. No one can ever discount.
Remember.
Right? If like you could just make it up. I could just tell somebody, hey, this happened to me, and then it's whispered down the lane from something that wasn't even true. So kind of dissecting which of these stories are even true is kind of part of the fun as well.
Well, memory's crazy like that. Like, Brian, who did you say told you the real story? Right at when we were filming.
I don't even. I totally forgot it was Doug the bartender.
But that's the thing I believe it was Ryan that told us. No.
It was probably Ryan.
See, that's the thing. It's like memory is crazy like that.
Well, also I've been hitting the head a lot. So.
Oh, you say that all the time. That's
I know. Tracy hates when I say that, but yeah.
Good to see you. It's like I'm sure, like even before you got hit by the first chair, maybe when the first chair shot happened, you're like, I'm going to use this. I'm gonna. This is gonna be my
make it worth it. Hey,
this is my trump card.
So you were talking about Beyond the Mat, and obviously the Santa Claus documentary with Mick Foley. Obviously, you're a wrestling fan. You're dressed as Duke the Dumpster Jersey right now. So, do you have? Is there like a wrestling documentary that like is on your wish list of like a dream that you wish you could put together?
Yeah, I mean, like it's tough. Like it's difficult to talk about projects that you want to do because it may never work. But like I've been said it before, but it's like we're actively trying to make like an Andy Kaufman wrestling documentary, and that to me is like my way in, because like I had produced a couple scripted movies. I mean, Blue Meanie has been in all of the scripted ones. But in different movies we've had Dreamer, Al Snow, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and in the documentaries we try to do the same thing. Like Santa, we just hit so many. It was Foley, Meanie, Dreamer, Piper. If you look closely in the credits, you see DDP, Jerry Lawler's in there, and then when I produced Ghost Heads, we got Zack Ryder in there, Matt. I can never say his last name properly, so I'll just say Matt
Cardona.
Yeah, and then Bill Murray, we had Meanie and Georgie Animal Steel that we actually had to cut out. So you're not the only wrestler who got cut out of that movie. But
I'm on the Blu-ray, so that's cool.
Yeah, totally. But Waldo and We was the first movie where like, how do you put professional wrestling in there? And the only thing that I can like in my mind justify is they did talk about Snoop Dogg at one point, and we do have a picture of Snoop Dogg, and he is in the WWE Hall of Fame. But if you see in the credits, I thanked professional wrestling. So I just it was just, but to me, like that would be a good wrestling story because I love Andy Kaufman. I'm friendly with Lawler. He was in the Santa Claus documentary. I've talked to him about it. I've talked to the Kaufman family. I just think there's a really interesting documentary in there in the fact that he was like one of these first sort of trolls. He would just do these things to anger people, and I love it. I love bad guy wrestlers. I used to be in a comedy rap group, and we would just play the heels like crazy.
Wow. We got to play that song on here.
I don't think it plays well in today's world. I don't think you need to play that.
True.
It's just gonna sound like one long beep.
Yeah. Well, it's just Danica McKellar, Winnie Cooper, she almost didn't work with us on Mancation because of that song, but she understood it was a joke, so that's good. But that was a long time ago. So.
You almost did something with Chris Jericho, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or
yeah, he had an idea for a documentary, and we still check in from time to time. And like I'd like to work with him on something in the future, I think he's getting into that like space, like trying to do. He's just trying to be like the Oprah of wrestling, I guess. Yeah. His own little network podcast and all that sort of stuff. He's doing great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, speak of this too. It's like 50 years, about to be 50 years old in November, and like on the top of his game. Like that's crazy. Oh, yeah. Like it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just
they're, like when I got into wrestling, then they always say have a plan B because wrestling guarantees nothing. So, and hence why I'm trying to do this podcasting thing because it hurts a lot less.
Hey, listen, I'm a lot of people's plan B. So. I'm a lot of people's plan B, so I'm happy to. Jericho, I just read a article with him where he talked about how he would like to, when he wraps it up in the ring, he would like to do commentary, how he plans on doing Fozzy until he's in his 70s. And, and I think that he is, he's just that type. You have those people who are they're born entertainers. And I don't think he strikes me as the type of person who's just going to retire and, all I want to do is kick back and, watch the world go by. I think he is always going to be doing something else. So it's not surprising that he's trying to figure out his next move into another genre of entertainment.
Well, I mean, look, he's killing it with Kevin Smith movies. He's been in like 2 to 3 Kevin Smith movies. I mean, MacGruber was great, like.
Yeah, there's silence on that one. Where are my crickets? I don't know.
Oh, we're one of these podcasts.
No.
There it is. No, so we got these Rodecaster Pro. Stop. These crickets go on way too long. We got this Rodecaster Pro a while ago, and we had an entire episode of our show just dedicated to us really trying to figure out how to use it. And it's just, there's some people who they can memorize where everything is. I have no idea. So I'll say something that should go for like the rim shot instead of just hitting it right away. I'll make a joke and be like, okay, we're somewhere. Give me a second. Oh, there we are. And it just ruins it. It's just terrible. Yeah. So
I come from radio, so I've been around people who know how to use that thing and people who do not know how to use that thing.
Well, you're around some people who don't know right now. And,
but that's the cool thing, man. I met you in Philly. You're in Philly radio. And you told me, hey, I got this movie. You want to be a part of it? And I was always interested into getting into acting. And it was community college.
Yeah.
And, I knew you were coming on the show, and I was looking around, and there it is on Amazon Prime. I mean, all these years later, that had to be like 14 years ago, you're telling me about doing this movie, and then we do the movie, and then it's on to the next movie. So you're doing all these scripted movies. Where was the point where you're like, you wanted to go away from the scripted movies into more documentary? Because I'm a big documentary fan, and I love everything you've done. What was the point that went, yeah, I think maybe documentary's my new strength, or my strength to go to?
Yeah, so a lot here, right? So first of all, I remember, so I used to work for Kid Chris in Philadelphia, and I would answer the phones, and there was like the special number, and I remember picking up the special number, and he's like, hey, my name's Brian and the Blue Meanie. Chris told me to call in. I'm like, Blue Meanie? Yeah. Like, I remember going, I used to watch it. Like, it was like that creep guy. Like, I was like, I remember I used to watch you when you wrestle. Like, I was just a huge, like, fan. So it was cool. And I remember, like, being able to, like, jot down numbers or whatever. And all that stuff. I've stolen way many numbers in my day, But I mean, we used to call B. Arthur all the time when we were drunk. I still text Ric Flair on his birthday, and he has no idea who I am. He's very nice about it, though. I go, happy birthday. He's like, thank you. It's been like 2 to 3 years I've been doing it. If you look at our chain, it just says, happy birthday, thank you. Happy birthday, thank you. Happy birthday, thank you. But yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, my God, it was the first person to call in that, like, I knew who it was, because, I mean, we were still very early into the show at that time. So it was an honor just to talk to you at that time. And then, yeah, when it was time to make movies, I kind of collected all these people that I knew locally, that was like, oh, who do people know, I mean, you were in the community college with Scotty Schwartz from Toy Story, Donkey Lips from Salute Your Shorts, and Rich Cronin from LFO. So you're in a big group.
Pretty eclectic cast right there.
Is anyone who I knew would they say yes, But yeah, and that was 2007. We shot that, and that was the last. It was the last scripted movie I did, directed wise, and I just felt like I was like, am I a good scripted director? Like there was a lot of times, because besides you guys who have done things on camera before, it was a lot of just my friends I grew up with. So a lot of them are good, a lot of them aren't. There's direction taking skills there, or direction giving skills from my end. So I just like, maybe I'm not the best director, but then like years later I go, also, let's give myself a little bit of credit. No one was a professional actor on that set besides like some of the guys that would come in for like a day, So it was one of those things where like, let me rethink a lot of these things. So I started producing stuff that Derek Lindemann and would write and direct, and have people on my team like Jake Matthews and Annie Lindemann and John Gennari and all these sort of people, and we would just start making these movies, Miss December, Mancation, all that sort of stuff. And when Miss December was playing some of the festivals, Morgan Spurlock's I think it was Comic-Con, the movie was playing. And I had this idea. I always kind of wanted to do documentaries, but I just never pulled the trigger. And I was like, me and Morgan were in the same room, and we had a mutual friend, this guy named Toothpick. And I was like, hey, we have a mutual friend, dropping that name. He picked it up, and we started talking. And I had said, I have this idea for a movie, and I keep seeing that all the documentaries I'm watching have your name on it. It was like Last Cup, Confessions of a Superhero, What Would Jesus Buy? All these like sort of movies that he didn't direct, but he was executive producer and helped kind of showcase. Mm-hmm. And I told him about the idea, and he loved the idea. We connected information. Me and John Gennari, my producer at the time, we like suited up, went to New York, talked to his producer, and like I'm sweating. And he's like, yeah, he's like, normally we did not connect. This person never liked me, but
it's in the Step Brothers where they wear the tuxedos to the job interview and stuff like that, or something.
It really was. It was like, because I just thought you were supposed to dress like suits, and like it's so funny. In the years as happened, like I've just slowly just dressed more and more like a slob, But like, yeah, he could just, I guess he could tell the greenness on us, and it just didn't work out. But he's like, look, he's like, if you want to make this movie and you feel like you should, do it, and come back to us when it's finished, and maybe we can help you out there. And I came back 3 years later with a finished movie and Mick Foley, and that's how Morgan kind of came on. Morgan loved it, gave some notes, and he was our executive producer. So that's a long way of answering your question of how I got into documentaries.
No, I think it's just so interesting because, like I had mentioned before, just the journey of a documentary, you have no idea sometimes where it's going to end up. And I've always been fascinated by looking at it as a full story and just trying to dissect how somebody got there in creating it. So, yeah, I find it very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like when we met with Morgan that day to show him the movie with Mick. Mick left WrestleMania to come to New York to do the meeting, and it was the WrestleMania that the Undertaker lost his streak, and we were just like we weren't like prepping ourselves for the movie or to talk to Morgan. We're like, I can't believe Brock beat Undertaker, and like we're just talking about it, and then and my timeline's all messed up, but like the end of our movie. Mick gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, and like I got to, he gave me a ticket. So it was like, I was there when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame and got a picture next to his ring at the bar afterwards. It was the same year Donald Trump got inducted in the Hall of Fame. So there you go.
Yeah. It's quite the class.
There. I went to.
I was there
nice.
Too.
With Waldo and Weed, how's the reception been? It's been out for a little while now on Blu-ray and on Amazon Prime. And is there a lot of feedback? And, in the movie, they show, the people in Pennsylvania legislature talking about legalizing, weed in Pennsylvania. Do you think, that movie might have helped along with the process as well?
I mean, the reception of the movie has been good. It's just, it's like, I just knew it wasn't going to be as big as Bill Murray. I mean, like that was just going to be the truth, I mean, like a documentary about all this sort of stuff is just definitely different, for one that kind of puts you in this like sort of escape and enjoy and teach you something with Bill Murray, whereas someone's just like some heavy stuff going on, you might get emotional, but at the end it's uplifting and hopeful. But so the people who have seen it have sent good messages. I mean, when we would play it at festivals, I mean, the Q&As afterwards was so much better, opposed to like, hey, have you ever met Bill, or did Bill ever get back to you? Like, there's these people, because like cancer just affects so many people, and it was really interesting to watch the people talk to the Dwyers, like the family, of their connections, and they would just have these really interesting conversations. Like, to me, like I've never smoked pot ever in my life. Like I was not a marijuana fella. So to me, that was not the story. It was what would a father do to save his son? So when people would talk about cannabis or, all these sort of things, I luckily could just bow out, and either the Dwyers would talk about it or my producers who knew the research about that stuff, because I just paid attention to really the character stuff and only kind of, knew some of the things to talk to. Like I never thought as a documentarian I'd be talking to politicians and doctors. That's when I feel like I really got my little stamp or whatever as a real documentary. It wasn't like, interviewing people who dress like Santa Claus. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff in the legislation was already set when the movie came out, so I don't think we affected anything. I just think, if anything, it's not an agenda movie, but I think some people who may never thought about it, a lot of these things, it's like, it's a web post, it's a news story, you're reading all that stuff, but you don't really know what necessarily the people who go through it do, or like what happens to a family, what happens to a child. So I think what our movie does is like allows people to know that there are people, hidden in these news stories that do affect a lot of people.
Now, let's talk about the name of the movie, because the first time I hadn't heard of it when Meanie first mentioned it to me. And my first thought was Waldo from Where's Waldo on weed. Here's a documentary about some dude wearing stripes just baked out of his mind. That's what I was picturing right away. And when Meanie starts telling me about this, obviously it's slightly different than that. It's a catchy title. What has been the response to it? Have you gotten a lot of people going, wow, this is not what I expected when I heard the name?
I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but that's usually what people say when they watch all my movies. It's like, it's not what I expected. Okay. No, I mean, Brian, the father, always wanted to call the movie Waldo on Weed. I had a couple people who told me that would not be a good name, and given my past movies, everyone had that same reaction to you. I go, yeah, my next movie is Waldo on Weed. They go, oh man. I go, yeah, it's not that kind of movie. But it worked to wow Waldo on Weed. It was one of those things. Brian really wanted that to maybe the name of the movie, and I was okay with it. I mean, the boy's name is Waldo James Mysterious Dwyer, so if his name was Brian or Tommy, it would have been, Brian on Weed or Tommy on Weed, or something like that. It just happened to be this character that's like from Family Members, Family Matters, or like the kids book,
Yeah, right, from Yeah. Oh man, what was Waldo's full name on Family Matters? Wasn't it like
Waldo Geraldo Faldo or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't thought about that guy in a while. So the mask behind you, and I don't know if we can actually see it based on, because we're kind of 3 to a. Well, here we go. I guess this is how we're gonna see it. So I mean, that's Bill Murray right there. So tell us a little bit, for anyone who hasn't seen that film. What's the first of all, who made that? That's such a good mask, and what's the whole story behind this?
So in I Am Santa Claus, we had claymation. Here, I'll show you. So this could be your YouTube clip.
Yeah.
This is the claymation I Am Santa Claus, made by Dave Deneen from Philadelphia. And then he also made the Bill Murray mask, and he was the guy who created Buddy Christ for Dogma.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I just known him for a while. I don't even know how, but he teaches at Drexel. And he did our claymation. And I asked him, do you know how to do masks? And this is like these are taxidermy eyes. Like this is like no joke. And you can't even see out of the mask. Wow. Like we had made one mask where you can see out of it. Just so we could do like Q&As at the end. Like in Texas, when we did South by Southwest, one of our second or third screenings, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Murray. and just the actor Brian Gallagher came out with that mask on, and no one was happy. You could have used that cricket button for that one. It was no one was happy, except for me, because I like being a bad guy. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where like we wanted the opening of the movie to feel like we want to see how people tell these stories, and some of the stories, like the one Brian told me, we weren't going to be in the movie with someone who actually encountered it. So let's script it and all that sort of stuff. So how do you show Bill Murray? So we're like, oh well, let's make it just weird, like the way, we remember things. It was just like a little off and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was a nice little level of creepiness.
Very cool.
But dude, I'm so proud of you. I'm
glad proud of you.
No, seriously, dude. From your days as a kid, Chris, all the way to now working with Whoopi Goldberg, producing a movie on something I totally believe in. I totally believe that, with cannabis and alternative medicines and stuff like that, because now I've been, using CBD and stuff like that to help me with all my wrestling injuries and stuff like that, and to see how far you've come, and, just to be there along for the ride. Dude, I couldn't be more proud of you. And we were there the day you moved from Jersey.
Yeah, you watched. You watched. It was either our cars or our actual stuff get driven away. Yeah, I have pictures of you guys waving.
Yeah, that was such a cool moment, because I saw your evolution from, radio to community college, and now you're killing it in Hollywood. And you sent me some sizzle reels for some of the stuff you might be working on, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if you want to talk about that. If you can't, you can't. But
yeah. I had heard that you mentioned about one of them already on that. I was like, oh, jeez.
Well, yeah, but
no. Yeah, I mean, just because you never know if it's gonna go and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I always use this example. Like, I'm a big Howard Stern fan, and he used to talk about how he wanted to do a cartoon called Howard Stern, the high school years. And he said, we're going to do this cartoon. And then it never happened. But for like 20 years, people are like, when's that cartoon coming out? So you don't want to paint yourself in a corner and say you're going to do something and then keep having to answer why you didn't do it.
Yeah. And then there's a jinx level. And like, I don't know, I mean, like, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. And for years he would talk about, I'm going to do Fletch, or I'm going to do Clerks 3, or Clerks 2, or Clerks 3, and then Mallrats 2. And it's like a whole series of other movies like Moose Jaw and stuff. And then you're like, I don't know, like I'd like to talk about those things, but then I just think it jinxes it or all that sort of stuff. So, but what's funny about us is, like, I remember, like, you and me, like, actually hung out. I remember, like, I think our relationship almost goes back to the Tracy relationship. I don't think Tracy had moved out yet. And then I remember, like, us going to the bar and just, like, drinking White Russians together, or at least I was drinking White Russians. And then I remember you telling, like, there's this one girl there that just didn't quite understand about wrestling, but she was a hockey fan. And you just kept telling her that hockey was fake. And it was like just one of those, like, great memories. It's like, because, like, you kept the bit going, and, like, she just didn't get it. She didn't understand that you were joking.
Were you?
No, I've done that. And to Mrs. Meanie's bemusement, where one time we were in McCuskers and like the Eagles were losing or something. And there was a couple Steelers fans in there, and they were, like, talking shit on the Eagles. So I was like, what do you care? It's all fake anyway. I hit them with that line, and they're like, what? And they start getting, hit me with, well, what about this? And I would have an answer for it, just like, yeah. I was like, well, look, they have a playbook. That's their script, right? And I'm just taking. What's that? Oh, hold on, Mrs. Meanie running.
Oh, hold on, we gotta hit it. This we actually have a theme for.
Mind of the Meanie, Mrs. Meanie running, Tracy Roots got something to say. Hey, hey, hey.
He's got to tell this story.
Hello. Tracy, I was just about to say that I was going to talk about the one time we were about to have Fuddruckers and you saw a weird guy chasing geese and you drew a picture of.
There was like a really mad guy chasing geese. We were like, what the? Like they stole his watch or something. It was real weird. Yeah, I drew a picture.
Yeah, and I just thought that was funny because I mean I don't think the geese really stole his wallet, but maybe that's the story you came up with. But
we were like, what's happening here?
I think you illustrated it too, or something.
Yeah, no, it's a great picture.
Okay, so he's fighting with the kids about the Steelers about football being fake.
Okay.
And our buddy Bob walks in and he goes, "Hey Bob, football, it's rigged, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah."
So these guys are fighting me. It's not fake, right? So our buddy Bob comes in. They try
you on this. Like that's what's so great. It's so stupid.
Yeah, they go to this guy Bob. He's going to be the voice for reason to say it's not fake. They're like, Bob, is football rigged? He's like, well, it's like pro wrestling, without even scripting it. Like he had he'd walked in the door within 20 seconds. He had said everything I said, and they just threw their shit down and fucking walked out.
That's amazing.
Like,
isn't it great having a place that's like yours but not really being yours, and then like when new people come in, you just like to chase them away?
I think that's I've always, I mean, whether it's like Cheers or Friends or had the coffee shop. Yeah. I've always Seinfeld had the diner. I've always like longed for places like that. I had a diner for a while, but then we just we didn't want to go anymore because we were tired of eating diner food. But I think that's great to have a place like that. And when the world opens back up, I'm looking forward to visiting that place. We
used to go to Bamboo Bernie's in Jersey, and it was like me and my buddy Smutty had this like schedule. It was like Monday, our friends gave us free drinks, then we'd go bowling to like down the Westbrook, and then Tuesday we went to Bernie's for karaoke. Wednesday was open mic night, so we just go there and goof around. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wednesday was fishbowl night or something like that. It was somehow we had like every weekday, but then in the weekends we wouldn't go because that's when all the posers went to bars.
Dude, your karaoke bit was amazing. Where like people go there and they're like singing like they're on American Idol, like they're deep into these songs, and he's up there and he's singing like he's in a death metal band, singing "I Will Always Love You," but screaming at the top of his lungs, and people are like throwing ashtrays at him, trying to get him off the stage and stuff. It's like the Blues Brothers with the chicken wire,
Yeah, I would throw things at people. But yeah, I would just scream on the top of my lungs like Frosty the Snowman or the Family Matters theme song. It was a fun time. I try to think if I could ever do that again. And I don't think I could. As far as like, it's I'm just so out of shape, I guess. Like I would scream so much that like I was out of breath and it would just hurt.
That's amazing,
man. The good old days, man. Those were the times.
I feel like I have the Frosty the Snowman song somewhere where I was a scream. I'll send it to you.
That'll be our outro this week. That would be amazing. But yeah, man. Anything else going on? You got things coming up? Anything you need to plug or?
Yeah, we're just not really plugging except I guess for like the Instagram, whatever. Like our website's doublewindsorfilms.com. And then all the social media stuff's on there. My name's, I guess, difficult to spell or whatever, but it's Tommy Avallone, Avallone, and the number 3. But I'm producing this movie about Gwar, the band Gwar. And we got like Alex Winter and Weird Al and Thomas Lennon and Bam Margera all in it. So that will be fun. But then as far as directing goes, we're just trying to play inside the system and figure out ways to pitch things, and we're pitching it to a couple different projects, and some I'm really hoping that go. And we have some big executive producers behind them that I'm hoping will work out, but we'll see.
We look forward to Meanie spoiling one of them on our show in the near future.
Because like my buddy, can I get a name drop here? My buddy, was it Instagram Fig Heel, Fig Heel?
Oh yeah,
he was like, he's like, Meanie's talking about your on location idea. I was like, oh.
Sorry.
It's fine because I
was being a mark about it. I was being a mark for it.
It's one of those things we pitched and like people weren't too into it, and I was just like, you know what? If no one likes it, I'm just gonna make it as a documentary. F everyone else, because it's like I know how to make it. Like we thought, like, oh, this movie, this idea could translate into a series. It was just, it's famous houses. What is it like to live in a famous house? Like Golden Girls, Full House. I've been inside the Full House house. Jeff Franklin, the owner, like brought me in there and showed me around. So that was the idea. And then once like we're still waiting to hear over this one network if they might be interested in it, but it's probably not going to happen. So I'm just going to make it as a documentary and just do it my own way.
Very
and
cool.
whatever you do next, I'll be there right in the front row, man. I'm proud of everything you've done, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. I love seeing the Mick Foley I Am Santa Claus in the background there. So that's
I saw that.
Yeah.
That was one of the things you gave me the last day we visited your house. It's like, what's that, 101 maybe?
What the Santa Claus? Yeah, I mean it was a Kickstarter reward that our producer at the time bought all these things for a Kickstarter reward, and they just came from like this like I guess like a third world country of some kind, and like they all kind of came back broke.
So it wasn't a one of one in the beginning. It is now.
Yeah. We just told the Kickstarter people like we can't send these; they're gonna break. I mean, everyone understood it and it was cool, but like so, the ones that didn't break, I just kind of gave to people who could take them home safely, because like. There's supposed to be a hat on yours, and the cane keeps breaking for some people. So it's a difficult one to ship.
Well, that's the thing. The hat came off. And I'm just like, son of a bitch. And I'm trying to figure out how to get it back on. So now that you say all of those came shipped that way, I was like, I don't feel like a total klutz over here.
Yeah. I have mine somewhere. Yeah, here, let me. Oh, it's a video. Never mind. But yeah, mine's over there. I have it nicely placed on, but it's just very, very brittle.
But yeah, man. I try to have like a shelf behind me that's like a representative of my career. And Mick Foley was a big part of my career. He helped. He was one of the first people to give me a rub in the business with being part of his ECW farewell. And all this stuff, and getting to be in the Santa Claus movie too, to tell the story how we were driving through the Arizona desert, and he's like, "Hey guys, mind if I put on some music?" And we're like, "Oh yeah," he's gonna put on some like metal or whatever. And he puts on like Nat King Cole Christmas classics, and we're just like, "All right, this is a rib, and you can let us out. You can let us in on the rib anytime." And then he was serious. It was like 40 minutes in. We're like, I guess he means it. It's real.
I like the pictures he posts on Instagram where it's the opposite angle of the view right there, where everything's just like a mess. That to me is what's funny about, I mean, like, who posts reality, right? No one. And it's always funny when I see pictures of like people in like with their kids and they're all smiling, but they're like also texting me that same day, like, today's a really tough day. It's like we're like, but everyone's smiling in the photos. It's very funny. It's just funny, reality versus all that sort of stuff. I mean, I do it all the time too. Everyone's like, since moving out here, like, I go to Disneyland a lot, doing all these sort of things, and people are like, "You're lucky, man. You're living a great life." It's like, yeah, I'm only posting the smiles,
Yeah, right. And it's such a important lesson to people to not get jealous over what you see somebody post online. I mean,
but I do, man. Like I like, especially like with the quarantine, like I'll see people on the East Coast like hanging out with people or seeing people. It's like I haven't seen a person outside of like my wife and kids in a long time.
Well, same here. And from being on the East Coast, I can tell you, you shouldn't be doing that, or none of us are ever going to be able to get out and see each other again. But what part of LA are you in?
I'm in like Santa Clarita, like a little bit.
Oh,
like,
I lived.
Somehow I'm further out there. It's a little bit of a boring area.
Do you know where Valencia? Do you know Valencia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived there for about a year.
Yeah, so know it sucks.
Yeah. Oh no, there's nothing. I lived in Studio City before I lived out in Santa Clarita. My daughter was
so
actually
close.
born
I used to live in Burbank, so it's like we're right next to each other in both spots.
Well, Burbank continued when we moved out to Santa Clarita. Burbank was still like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? Well, let's just go down to Burbank, because there was nothing. There's nothing else to do except for, oh God, there's a Chinese restaurant. It's really good. New Moon, is that what it's called?
I thought you were gonna say this place called
not
PF
in Burbank,
Chang's?
PF Chang's. It's PF Chang's in Burbank. It's a little mom and pop operation right next to the mall
called
there.
Pizza Hut.
No, there were some really good. I can't remember any of the names though. There's Grand Market Cafe. Is that what it's called, or something
we
other
got
in
a
Burbank?
Smokehouse in Burbank, and there's this new place called Hungry Crowd that I really like.
I don't know. I don't know from new. It's been a while.
Well,
but
it's new to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Well, cool, man. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for coming on here. This was really cool to get to talk to you, and
I just want to showcase the Duke the Dumpster Josie outfit one more time.
Dude, you got to put it over that work, man.
Yeah, you like that?
Nice.
The craftsmanship that went into it.
It's real snapping action.
Well, I hope this was interesting to the listeners because, we didn't talk too much wrestling.
No, this was a nice break from us playing around with our Rodecaster Pro. So I think they're just happy to hear anything else.
Real quick, so I got into wrestling by watching WrestleMania 9. My grandfather loved wrestling, and I was always a Hulk. I didn't really like wrestling with my grandfather for some reason, but like I did like Hulk Hogan. But then he told me Hulk Hogan was coming back, and I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. Watched WrestleMania 9. There was like Crush, the two Doinks, Giant Gonzalez, all that sort of stuff. But when Hogan came out, and then the whole ending with the red pants Hulk Hogan and the Yokozuna and Bret Hart, like. I was like, this is cool. I'm really in. And I was on 123 Kid X-Pac's Sean's podcast, and I was like, I really, WrestleMania 9 is the what got me into wrestling. He's like, that one was awful.
You know what? That's what I was gonna ask because I have always loved WrestleMania 9. I have such fond memories of it. But some people, they will refer to that as the worst WrestleMania of all time, and I loved it. I absolutely loved the pageantry, as they would say, and I apparently can't. But yeah, the
Bobby Heenan on the
God, it was awesome.
Backwards.
People are like, "Whoa, they're wearing a toga." It's like, of course, it's a freaking show. It was. I thought it was fantastic. So
I liked it as well.
Yeah.
Well, now you have to say that. we both talked about how much we loved it. No,
my favorite Survivor Series, I believe it was '93. Is I know Marty Jannetty's in the news now, but it was like Marty Jannetty, 123 Kid, Razor Ramon, and Macho Man versus Adam Bomb, IRS, Rick Martel, and Diesel. I don't know why that stuck out. I mean, it's the same Fun Fanatics versus
or something.
The what's up?
94, I think.
I think it was 90. I think it was 93.
93.
But yeah, the main was that like the was it Lex Luger, the Steiners, and Undertaker, and it was funny because on the cover. Yeah. It was an animated Tatanka, and he was doing like the Indian sort of dance. And when they put Undertaker back in, he's still for some reason doing that that Tatanka Indian dance. Like I don't know why they just didn't change the pose for the Undertaker to drawing. It's funny.
It's cool the things that stick out like that. And nobody else might notice it, but for like, there's little things like that you just stick out. You're like, why'd you do that? Why'd they do that?
Yeah, and it's like the turkey's there. Yokozuna, like the more I look back, I'm like, Yokozuna was great.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. He was amazing,
especially early Yokozuna before his weight got out of control. That guy was.
I like the beard Yokozuna.
Yeah, I liked him too, but his in-ring work. You talk like WrestleMania 9. That guy was. That was amazing. What a guy his size could do. I mean, honestly, it was amazing what a guy his size could do when he was like 600 something pounds. It was still pretty impressive. I have a hard time just standing up out of my chair, but like it's a shame though because he really, man, he was such a talent.
I just didn't like him at the time because he ruined Hulkamania. Like he just I was like King of the Ring. I was like, what? I was like, he just came back. So upset.
I think that was the phase where like people kind of started turning on Hulk a little bit.
Yeah.
Like and then when he went to WCW, they still kind of like poo-pooed on him. So when he finally went NWO, it was so weird. He had to turn heel to become babyface again. So
yep.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. Like when he was like going against Flair, and then they're like all those weird creatures that Kevin Sullivan was doing,
Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah, I was all in. I just didn't like the one. I guess it was the beginning of NWO, like when he came in and like his beard was gone or something. There was something.
That was actually
a mustache.
That was actually before. That was like this weird time when you look back on it because he was wearing the black and white, but he had the weight belt that said Hulkster. And it was during his Dungeon of Doom feud, I believe. It was like he had like, become, I guess, sad Hulk Hogan. And so he was in all black. And I want to say he was filming a movie and that's why he shaved the mustache.
I think it was like Three Ninjas.
Yeah, dude did not look good without a mustache. No. There's some things, it just did not look right at all.
But if he stuck with it, you probably would have got used to it, like Weird Al. You know, like you look back, you're like, oh, Weird Al's fine without a mustache now. But the first time he did, you're like, what are you doing?
That's true.
Like when Oates shaved his mustache from Hall & Oates, it's just like, it wasn't the same. But that I'm a little bit older, so
Yeah. Well, that's why. That's what the question.
I know
with
the person existed. I just don't know the image.
That's the question with WrestleMania 9.
Sajak did the same thing, didn't he? Pat Sajak, Jeopardy.
Not Pat. No, Alex Trebek.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You know what though? When because I don't watch Jeopardy, really, I never really watch it. But I did when I was a kid. It was always on, or my parents would watch, or whatever. So when I see him pop up now, still probably decades after he shaved that mustache, it's still at first I'm just like something doesn't seem right. But
well, I mean, it's the way I feel with Shawn Michaels and chest hair. Like I feel like Shawn Michaels. Was a better wrestler with sideburns and chest hair. Once he kind of come back and as he's like just the tights were fine. You don't need these weird chaps.
Oh my God, dude! And why when he came back with the tights? First of all, there was the brown was like I don't even know what was happening with that. But when he comes back with the tights, and then he's like he has these black ones where it says HBK down the sides and on the back, and then it's like he just did not want to go back to that Heartbreak Kid thing, and I get that he was a little bit older. But then he goes back to the Heartbreak Kid, and it doesn't even say Heartbreak Kid on the back. Now it says Shawn Michaels and HBK. He couldn't get back to who he originally was. And then he kind of eventually went back to it, but he never wore the gloves again. Yeah. Remember that? And then finally it was just he wore the chaps, and it was like...
Yeah, I like the tights where it was two dudes with attitudes sort of time. Right. He's kind of almost got the beard going. He's the Intercontinental Champion. Diesel's the normal champion,
There was a match in Philly, and there was a dark match. It was right around the time, it was right before, a couple weeks before SummerSlam, where he wrestled Hogan. And he was wearing those, it was right around when he started wearing the chaps, like the full, wrestling in the full chaps. And they're doing a dark match, and he is facing where I'm sitting, so his back.
Is this where his underwear, the tights came out, like you saw his butt cheeks?
It just ripped right off.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, yeah. Well, and I remember just being like, well, you can't not look at it because you can't watch the match without seeing it because the man's standing on the apron facing us. And it was just, it was interesting. And my thought was, dude really needs to wear something under these because, I guess pleather rips easily.
I remember that. It was so you think you could probably Google that, but who'd want to, right?
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, you much like Ric Flair, I think you could just go on the network and find plenty of matches where his ass is showing. So,
Yeah. Well, I think Razor pulled him down once for the ladder match.
Yeah, and then he worked for 5 minutes with his pants down.
Yeah, my friend Nancy bought the Playgirl that he was in. So I remember her liking that scene. He was just like, ooh.
Wow. There's funny stories about the Playgirl where he's telling everybody oh man, this is awesome. All the girls are going to be seeing this, and they're all saying to him the girls aren't necessarily who's buying the Playgirl magazine, but hey, at the same, and then years later, now there's there's pictures of Hornswoggle wearing a belt in a similar position out there. So I mean, it stood the test of time.
Tommy Dreamer has the same picture.
Tommy has it with the ECW belt. That is that's worth Googling.
Dreamer's the best.
I love Tommy. Well, there was the time I did the naked BlueDust in the park, and then we were recreating the Goldust in the park where he had naked Goldust. We had the Intercontinental belt, so I'm in this playground, and off camera is Tommy Dreamer, Sandman's son, wife, film crew, Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, who had to paint me up in the blue food coloring and whipped cream because I forgot the body paint. And then 2 seconds after we finished taping, the cops show up and shine a spotlight on us. And the cop goes, I don't know what you guys are doing, but whatever it is, I don't want to do the paperwork on this one. So, and then Sandman tries to talk, yo, let's do one more time. We're like, stop. We're going, sorry, Mr. Officer. It's like, I ruined that guy's childhood or something. He probably played in that playground or something like that,
That's funny.
Oh, man. Well, there. Now you just told that's another Meanie Toons. Hey, have you had an opportunity to see Meanie Toons? The Blue Meanie cartoon? Oh, we'll have to send it to you.
Okay.
There's a Blue Meanie cartoon out there now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And it's a true story about how I ruined my friend's car with a fart. And
Your farts are ridiculously awful.
Yeah. Well, there's a testament to that. We can use that for the preview, like a movie trailer. Tommy Avallone, your farts are particularly full.
I just remember you farted in my apartment, either before or after Fuddruckers, and it just stayed. It just stayed so long. And then you made some joke about vampires. I just remember it being awful. Like there's a lot of gagging happening.
I worked that line into the cartoon. I was like, I let out this one fart, and it was like I invited a vampire into my house. He brought friends with him. Yeah, and then they show me standing there, and Gangrel walks into the room.
So I've been, as you know, we're waiting for the world to come back, and I just keep thinking of these like ideas of these things we can do once we're allowed to be in front of people. And I pitched one to Meanie the other day, but then I started thinking like that would involve a road trip of some sort, and I don't know. I've been hearing some stories here. I feel like either Meanie and I are going to like. I think I'll drive, and I'm just going to pitch in to get Meanie like a first class ticket or something. Just, because I'm going to do it like
wearing the same mask you do at the supermarket.
Yeah, right. I leased my car, so I think we're going to plan it around maybe I'd get back from whatever road trip the day my lease is up, and then, they might not take it back. Might be one of those things you break it, you buy it.
Episode.
Yeah.
Well, I ruined Kid Chris's car too, because we went up to a Levy show or whatever, and we rode back to WYSP, and I accidentally let one out, leaning up to get out of the car, and it was like, like a little popcorn fart, and he brought it up on the air the next day. He's like, Blue Meanie farted in my car or something like that.
Oh,
he talked about it for like 2 years. I don't think he ever forgave me for that, but
it just stays with you.
It's like a tag partner, It's
just stay.
It's
but
your farts are the Marty Jannetty to your Shawn Michaels.
It's my way of giving to you.
Yeah.
So.
You gave something, all right.
Yeah. These farts may or may not have killed somebody. But on that note, thank you so much again for being on here. We've kept you for quite a while. But yeah, really appreciate it, man. And it was nice. We did end up getting some wrestling talk in
there
here.
You go.
So yeah,
it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, that's the theme of the show. We talk about a little bit of everything: music, movies, sports, and a lot of useless knowledge that I got stored in my head somewhere. So, but I'm glad we got to talk some movies, talk some wrestling, and stuff like that. So, again, I'm very proud of you, man. Thanks for coming here, and thanks for wanting to be on our show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I just wanted to have a conversation with someone.
Come on back anytime.
We want to. Yeah, that's what we want to do. This show's just one big conversation. Like the theme is you're on a road trip and you're sitting in a car with us somewhere, and we're just talking.
But it's remote, so your nose is safe. Yeah. Great interview. That was a lot of fun, Meanie.
Hey, and thanks for Tommy for coming on and doing the interview. I've known him over 15 years. He used to work for the Kid Chris show here in Philly when it used to be WYSP, call screener. And then I got to see him go from working behind the scenes in radio to making feature films. And now he's doing great stuff with documentary stuff. So go check him out on Amazon Prime with Waldo and Weed, or you can go on Netflix and watch his movie, The Bill Murray Stories, which I'm glad he, I'm proud to say I was the first guy to tell him his Bill Murray story, which inspired him to make the documentary about the Bill Murray story. So
that was very cool.
Yeah, man, he's a great guy. Great wrestling fan too. It's always cool to see who's out there. I mean, it's wrestling that brought me and him together, but to see him go and become this great, movie director.
Yeah,
and, he still loves wrestling. We still text me about wrestling and stuff like that.
And I love just the opportunity to talk to him about documentaries, because I've just always been so fascinated about the ability to piece that together. But hey, you know what I want to talk about right now?
Yes.
I would like to talk about our merch. we got to do it. We got to get it out of the way here. And we want to thank everybody, as Meanie had said earlier. Thank you, everybody who has purchased some of our merch and took advantage of the Pro Wrestling Tees sale the other day. Really appreciate it. Man, go over to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie. We are churning out new merchandise left and right. Meanie, what are some of your favorites that are out there right now? Old, new?
If you go over to prowrestlingtees.com/BlueMeanie, you could get the old school BWO shirt, or you could get the spin-off, the BWO Japan shirt, which came out only in Japan back in the 90s when, Taka Michinoku and Dick Dogo and Men's Teo were doing the BWO.
I thought it was
in
Dick
Japan.
to go.
Yeah, that's what Taz used to call him. Hey, brother, I thought your name was Dick to go. No, Dick Togo. They did the BWO in Japan, and they had a limited batch of BWO Japan shirts done up. Well, those shirts got discontinued, so I decided to bring them back. And they're at prowrestlingtees.com/BlueMeanie. A new shirt that I just put up there that I'm sure I'll be the only one buying it because I wanted this shirt for myself. It's the Channel 48 WKBS shirt. It's a defunct channel here in Philadelphia, but if you grew up in Philadelphia, you watched, Kung Fu Theater, you watched Creature Double Feature, you watched Saturday Morning Wrestling on there. Yeah, you probably watched Roller Derby on there. You probably watched the Sixers and Flyers on there. And it's the channel was so beloved that there's Facebook groups dedicated to this channel, and we just go in there.
Have you hit them up with a link to your shirt?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
There you go. I got to tell you, come on.
Yeah. If there's a way to pimp myself, I'll pimp myself. But
nice.
Seriously, I did the shirt basically for me. But if you grew up in Philly and you're a big fan of this channel, this shirt's for you. Another, great. We got some. I can't believe some of the great shirts that are up at Mine and the Meanie. ProWrestlingTees.com/.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the new ones that we have up. I brought this up because I was originally going to say it and couldn't remember. We have so many new shirts up. Podcast Faces. How about that? Andy Slichter made that for us. Pod Squad Elite member. Yeah, dude, he has just made us so many things, and what's fun is he makes some that we can't necessarily put on Pro Wrestling Tees for reasons, copyright things and stuff like that. So join Patreon because we're gonna put them up on Patreon exclusives. But he made this awesome Podcast Faces shirt that anybody who's tuning into the video, you guys can see this right here. So cool, such an awesome shirt. It's got me and it's got Meanie. Looking like in the BWO frame, basically looking like exactly what you're looking at right now if you're watching this. The video frame that we do. And then, what are some of the other ones we've got? Well, of course, the brand new alternative commentary logo tee that you can get and wear that during SummerSlam. But one of my favorites that we just put up is the YM?A shirt that depicts the Blue Meanie doing the YMCA, leading someone in the YMCA dance. Here it is for anybody looking right now. Meanie is doing the C the wrong way, which, by the way, I think when I was talking to you about it last week, I think I did it the wrong way, too. I think instinctively you want to turn your body this way because that to you looks like a C if you move it in front of you. But it actually is supposed to be the other way. So, it happens to the best of us, Meanie. But what a great shirt.
That's attributed to Matthew at Botchamania putting up that clip. And, and match with me and Jason Knight, I go to do the YMCA and I do the C backwards. So, why not? I made it on Botchamania, so let's make it a shirt. So
yeah. Oh, definitely. And then we, of course, have some of our classics. We have our PHers shirt looking like the Sixers shirt.
PHer.
We've got the I'm 3 seltzers deep. We've got the 2 cents plain. We've got the 2 cents plain with color. And of course, Meanie Toons. We want blue. The We Want Blue shirt. My 3-year-old has been asking me about whenever I'm wearing it. First of all, anytime I wear any of the merchandise from Mine of the Meanie, he asks, can he get one like that? And we're working on being able to have that for, kid sizes. But that one he took offense to, because that is not how he likes his Blue Meanie to be dressed. Dressed like Uncle Sam. And since he doesn't know who Uncle Sam is, he doesn't really understand parody. And so he was just like, why is Blue Meanie wearing that? But if you understand parody, you can do it. He also asked me why there was a shirt on my shirt the other day, and that's because I was wearing the That Should Be a Shirt, which has a shirt on a shirt. We, of course, also have Concert Canceled. We've talked a lot about your gas again on this episode. Have a Sip for the Apocalypse, Baby in a Beanbag Chair, Meanie Burger, and, of course, the Pod Squad shirt, which is the #1 seller. But I would be remiss if I did not talk about some of the shirts on over at ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff. We've got some great ones over there, too. Sarcasm is my superpower.
That's my favorite.
And I've got a brand new one, which is pretty cool. It's it's like an arm and a fist holding a microphone, and it's just going like this. It's an arm and a fist holding a microphone. It says So Says Shernoff, and it's actually patterned after a shirt that I had airbrushed in Atlantic City when I was a kid, because I wanted to have my own t-shirt when I called myself The Rock years before The Rock debuted, years after Don Morocco, but at the same time, I at least thought in my basement wrestling federation that I was The Rock, and it was like a rock arm with a fist and all that stuff. So now it's a shout out to me as the only person who would know that, but also I thought a cool logo, so that's up there now too. And then of course, Collar and Elbow brand, the wrestling brand, collarandelbowbrand.com. Meanie, such cool stuff over there.
I love what Al Snow and Rod Hicks is doing over there at collarandelbowbrand.com. So many fantastic shirts. So many fantastic shirts that I decided to take over one of their one of their patent designs. My favorite shirt, I say this week in and week out, is the Collar and Elbow mirror shirt, where it's collar up top, elbow below, upside down. But instead of it saying elbow, it says LBWO with the BWO logo. And I always wanted a shirt like that because, I love those BWO colors, where it's the navy, the royal blue shirt with the blue that just pops right off of it. And when they did put that shirt out, I fell in love with it. I wear it almost daily. And a lot of people have been sending me photos of that shirt. And that's the biggest thrill, when you put a shirt out and people send you photos of them wearing the shirts, because times are tough, man, in this apocalypse, and for somebody to want to spend money in a time like this means the world, because they could choose from any wrestler, any wrestling company in the world, but the fact that they choose selected my shirt on collarandelbowbrand.com is fantastic. They also have a great jacket over there. Luke Gallows is killing it over there at Collar and Elbow with his Good Brother shirt. Yep. I always wanted a Ribera Steakhouse jacket from Japan, and this is as close as I'll probably ever get to getting it. So I'll probably be going over there and get myself one of those Luke Gallows Good Brothers satin jackets. In the fashionable, the fashion sense that he has. He's always wearing this stuff on his videos and stuff like that. But Collar and Elbow brand, so many good shirts, so many good parody shirts. I'm a man of parody. So go over to... Oh.
Yeah, Mrs. Meanie running.
I just want to put over Collar and Elbow. Like, when I wear Collar and Elbow, like you wear it, you're out in the wild, and you're like at a convention when conventions were things.
Just taking down our sign here.
I feel like I'm in like a club. Like, I feel like all the cool kids are wearing Collar and Elbow.
Yeah.
And if you're around Al Snow, he's definitely wearing it. And then you're like twinsies, because, me and Al Snow are like best buddies. But like, it feels like you're part of something. I love Collar and Elbow. I love wearing the stuff. I feel like a cool kid. Be a cool kid. collarandelbow.com.
Nice. Well done. And
I don't think I could top that.
No, but what I do want to talk about is, and this is where everyone goes, oh, God, he's talking about Patreon again. But I want to talk about our Patreon exclusive merchandise. And the reason I want to do that is I want everybody to understand. Think of it this way. You would go spend $19.99 on a shirt that you enjoy from Pro Wrestling Tees, from Collar and Elbow, and we appreciate that. Let's say you find a shirt that you like on our Patreon. Well, pay $3 extra, and you can get that shirt and all this extra stuff. Pay $5, and then you can get this live. But we have the Pod Squad Elite member shirt in the looks like the AEW logo. We have property of Pod Squad. And then, but the reason I really thought about this and really wanted to bring this up, the first ever Mrs. Meanie run-in shirt is available now at our Patreon exclusive store. And you got to go. You got to check this out. We're going to be posting some of these pictures. But then we also have masks, Meanie Burger masks. We have Pod Squad Elite masks. We have mugs. We have hats. We have so many cool things over there for our Patreon exclusive members. And we would hope that you would join. You know what? Even if you want to join us for 1 month, run in, grab a bunch of merchandise, and then get out. That's kind of a cheat to let you know how you can get this merchandise. You sign up for 1 month to our Patreon and go get all this merchandise. But it's just such cool stuff. But again, go to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie/ Blue Meanie BWO / Says Shernoff and collarandelbowbrand.com for all of the great merchandise that we have there. And we're going to let this music run out. All right.
Yeah, you hit the post on that one pretty good.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Timed that well.
We're going to do a poll of how many people hate when we talk about Patreon. Because I remember, like, anytime I would listen to, like, other podcasts that talk about it, and I'm just like, all right, this doesn't apply to me. This doesn't apply to me. I'm not on Patreon. But guess what? Sign up, then it applies to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Be with the cool kids.
Yeah. Be with the cool kids. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Hey, you know what? Speaking of cool kids, we have a lot of cool kids that are not Patreon members, and we still love them dearly. And
Absolutely.
And they had some questions. So, Meanie, what do you think? Is it time to ask Meanie anything?
Let's go for it. It's time to ask Meanie anything.
All right. So we have got a bunch of questions here from the Twitter, from the Facebook, and from one that was emailed to us. So that's why we're kind of jumping in a little bit earlier.
Do we have one from, did anybody use like a carrier pigeon?
Yes, but it has not arrived yet.
Oh, okay.
All right, so first one we're going to go with here was the one that was emailed to us, because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, old school.
Hey, Meanie and Josh. I have a question for the Ask Meanie Anything portion of the podcast. It's kind of a two-parter. First, if you could bring back one deceased wrestler, who would it be? And if you could have had one match with a wrestler that is no longer with us, doesn't have to be the same one that you want back, who would that be? Josh, I want to hear your answers too. Anthony DeFalco Jr., thank you so much for that. And thank you for wanting to know my answers, but Meanie first. And I think we're going to talk about it, obviously, since these wrestlers are human beings and some people are friends and stuff, and that's kind of tough to be like, well, of all of my friends who have passed, which one do I want back? So we'll talk purely from the professional wrestler character standpoint of just like, man, I just, that's someone I loved watching. I wish they could come back.
Oh, man. Like, look, people go, one time somebody said, which wrestling death hit you the hardest? I was like, they all hit me hard, Yeah. So to say, who would I like to see come back? I mean, I would love to see everybody come back, Mm-hmm. But that said, I would love to. I wish Bobby Heenan was still around, man, and I wish, cancer didn't do what it did to him. You talk about the guy who had the gift of gab, the guy who had a brilliant mind. I can only imagine what Bobby Heenan would be doing now. I wish, it
was such a cruel joke of nature.
Yeah.
It's like you look at it and you almost go, anything other than the fact it took away his ability to talk.
Right.
That's, you know, and forgetting even wrestling. I mean, I'm sure as just a person in general, that, I mean, so much of who he was his gift of gab, as you know, said, and just, yeah, but yeah, today, just imagine what a Bobby Heenan would be doing today.
I can see Bobby Heenan, you know, I mean, I would love to see him doing spoken words, you know, come back and do some spoken words. He could definitely sell out like a comedy club of people just wanting to hear him talk.
How about a podcast?
Bobby Heenan podcast would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I want everybody to come. I wish.
Yeah, and I mean, we're playing in the rules of the question, and
within the rules of the question, Bobby Heenan, I would love to see him come back. I would love to see what he would do now with today's technologies and today's opportunities, where you can have a career outside of a wrestling promotion. To make doesn't exactly necessarily mean you have to be in a ring.
Yeah,
you know,
to make everybody feel more comfortable. Because I get the intention of the question. It's a really good question.
Of course,
we're talking more along the lines than bringing someone back from the dead. It's more, let's think about a wrestling personality that could never come back. We know could never come back because they're not with us anymore. But we'll look at it that way. A wrestling personality that could never come back. Who would you want to have come back? You know, we'll kind of frame it. That was my nice little try to make it seem a little more palatable.
Yeah. There's so many ways to, you know, it could be distorted. But
yeah.
The second part of the question, who I would love to have worked, man, I would have loved to have worked with Eddie Gilbert. You know, I got to meet Eddie Gilbert as a teenager, and when Joe Goodhart was doing trips down to Memphis and stuff like that, we got to, you know, spend some time with him, have some breakfast. You know, like he would come in, they would have the thing where you could have breakfast with a wrestler, and we had breakfast with Lawler and Gilbert. And Eddie Gilbert pretty much taught me how to treat wrestling fans, you know, with the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. He was very polite, very engaging and stuff like that. And, or maybe that's because, you know, we're in a private setting, and, you know, when he had to be a heel, he could be a heel. But he always, like, the way I treat fans now, you know, the way I am towards fans now is something I learned from how Eddie Gilbert, you know, treated me. But, you know, now I'm into the business, I wish I could have at least had a match with him. You know, I guess the closest, you know, having a match with him, I had a match with Jeff Jarrett, and they were from like the same era, same generation, same style of working, where, you know, it's like a night off. Yeah. You know, I'm sure working with Eddie Gilbert be like a night off. So I would love to have had a match with Eddie, like heel Eddie, me being the baby face and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely Eddie Gilbert.
So I guess my answers, I'm gonna go with I think with the same person for both, which would be Owen Hart. Of somebody I wish I could bring back, and I guess I'm going outside of my new rules that I set for myself, and a lot of it is the fact of, you know, how he passed, and you know, such a horrible tragedy and everything. But also he was somebody he's someone I would have loved to have been in the ring with. He's also somebody that was closer to my size, while still being big enough compared to me that I would have been able to, because I always worked better with bigger people, so I still would have been able to work well with him, but I think I would have been able to have much more of a technical match. I know I would have, because even if I was terrible, he would have been able to make me have a great match. But he was somebody that I absolutely, he was on my dreams of people to wrestle. What's funny is Bret Hart was always my favorite wrestler of all time, and was never really on my list of people that I wished I could get in the ring with. But Owen definitely was, because I always kind of looked at him as like, his style or whatever it was. I just looked at it and said, like, okay, I think I could work with this. Like, this would be a lot of fun. Like, I really see myself having a good match with him. So yeah, I'm going to go with Owen Hart, but that was a great question.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to go to the Twitter. And our good friend Adam Scholl's lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did, and he is kicking back, asking this question: what's your view on the 1998 hit Blue, Dabba D, and is it based on you, Meanie?
I wish I could take credit for it, but no, I cannot take credit for it.
Well, you blew your house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette, and But that was all just with gas. You just blew that shit up. So
that's just the natural color of propane, or methane, or whatever. No,
you have propane. Blue Meanie farts propane.
Yeah,
I like that.
If I had like the Eddie Gilbert tights, the hot stuff tights, they have blue flames on the side. Nice. But the song "Blue," who sang that? Was it Eiffel 65?
Oh man, that's all you. I know the song. I know the lyrics, but I don't celebrate their whole catalog.
Yeah.
I think that is their.
I don't know
catalog.
if it's a catalog. It might
that
be
is
a pamphlet.
their catalog.
That's a pamphlet, not a catalog. The song's good, and everybody wanted me to use it. And like when I went to Memphis, they had me use it. A couple months.
Yeah, but I mean that was the time period when it came out, and I mean it does. I mean, it kind of fits like a glove, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like a man with 5 penises, it fits like a glove. His pants fit like a glove. Guy walks into a bar with a handful of dog shit. Goes, "Hey guys, look what I almost stepped in." I'll be here all night, folks. I'm getting heckled.
Oh man. Where's our? Oh god. Sorry, I don't even have a. We have that. We have the. We don't have a boo on here. We need to get a boo on here.
Yeah, you can get a boo if you want, but I got my dad jokes, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my boo. Did I say that right?
Yeah. The Boo Meanie.
Yeah. So was it the Boo Meanie T-shirt coming this October?
Seriously, yeah.
I'm not joking. It's already written down. Yeah. So great question, Adam. Thank you. Yes. No, it was not written about. Not written about Meanie.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a big fan of the show. A good kid with a lot of potential. One RJ City writes in.
Oh my God.
Was there ever a parody gimmick that was shot down? Hashtag Ask Meanie.
Oh, hello, RJ City. Thank you for the questioning. I feel so bad because he does his live streams on Wednesdays, and I hop in his chat.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I don't want to say, I felt like I'm distracting from the show or whatever, or adding to the show. But I appreciate that he hasn't told me to fuck off yet. So, no. But I love the RJ City. I love his RJ City After Dark every Wednesday on YouTube. And tomorrow morning, you can watch RJ City make coffee in his underwear on YouTube.
Tomorrow morning.
Every Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, so yesterday, you can go back in time and watch it.
Yeah, I'm
next Sunday.
I'm stuck in the moment right now.
Well, we're live. We're live.
We're live. Parody that got shot down. There's one parody we were going to do, and we just never did it. It was going to be Stevie was going to be Rob Van Darn, and I was going to be Sablou. And,
oh my God, that's amazing.
We pitched it, and we were going to come out, and then they would just come out and just fucking destroy us. But
how did that not happen?
I had the pants made. I had the Sablou pants made.
Were they just Sabu pants but blue, or did they have?
The woman who made Sabu's pants made me a pair of his pants for me in blue sequin and stuff like that.
Do you still have that?
No, I actually wound up wearing them when I was the blue boy, and they wound up getting destroyed. But and Sabu and Rob were all for it. They're like, Sabu was like, yeah, well, fuck, I'll just put you through a table, fuck. And then
we'll light you on fire and put you through a table.
Why not? Yeah. But yeah, it didn't necessarily get shot down. It just, we talked about it and it didn't happen. And then there was a thing I pitched to Paulie and he loved it. I was going to be Meanie, the dancing machine from the Gong Show. Like there'll be a segment, lull in the show, and ladies and gentlemen, Meanie, the dancing machine, just like on the old Gong Show. And I come out and do a little dance and go back, and they go back to the next match or something like that. There's so many. Oh, here's one I was going to do, and it wasn't necessarily shot down, but logistics. Mm-hmm. I was going to do a parody of Sting, and I was going to be Stink. and they were going to lower me from the ceiling.
That was based on a shoot.
Yeah. Some of the best stories come from real life. So I was going to be, I pitched it to Paul, and Paul fucking popped for it. And they were going to like lower me from the ceiling. Oh my God, it stink. And I come down and everybody just fucking holds their nose and jumps out of the fucking ring and stuff like that. So that's another one. I pitched that, in ECW, but logistics, I don't think they wanted to, invest in the rigging crew and stuff like that.
But for those of us who are watching this video right now, you can see me writing down stink shirt.
I hope everybody's having fun watching.
Coming soon to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Thank you. That was 3 ideas I pitched that just never came about.
Man, that Rob Van Darn and Sab Blue, that is money left on the table, if you ask me. That was.
And I swear to God, Rob
and Stink as well. But
Rob and Sabu were down for it.
Is Nova? I know. I mean, I guess you guys have patched things up ever since he tried to get you fired. Oh no, wait. Yeah, he tried to get. It was him. It was.
He tried to get Stevie fired.
Oh, he tried to get Stevie fired, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was probably trying to get you fired too.
With the JBL territory.
But he's a Cowboys fan, so. But is he still ever get in the ring for anything?
His words directly to me, if it involves the BWO, he'll do it. Mm-hmm. But other than that, not really. He'll do like a couple spot shows here and there as Simon Dean. Mm-hmm. But other than that, he's doing really well for himself. He runs a couple banks down in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. He's like one of the head bosses down there. And he'll do wrestling just to have fun. Me and him were supposed to do... Before this whole shutdown, Nova's brother, Donnie B, was going to have a show down the Jersey Shore, and it was going to be me and him tagging up against Rick Ratchet, and I forgot who the partner was, but Nova's twin brother, Donnie B. Mark Henry was going to be there, and we're going to raise money for the local Rotary Club.
Oh, wow.
And we're doing all these online promos and stuff like that, building it up, and then it got shut down, then it got rescheduled, and it just got shut down again, so... It was supposed to be a like BWO, and me and Nova were going to tag on that show.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that is that Donnie B would be interested in, or Impact Wrestling would be interested in, or anybody else. But my goal in life has just become Rob Van Dam and Sabu versus Rob Van Darn and Sablu. That is it. I don't care if the match lasts 30 seconds. I don't care if it involves nothing but dancing and pointing and thumbs.
Yeah.
That is, this has to happen. This is, right. You're all still here. I just, a few months before everything shut down, I was doing commentary on an event that Sabu was wrestling on. He's still around. Van Dam's doing his thing, good as he ever was. Mm-hmm. We got to make this happen.
We'll see. Hopefully, people...
Let's get a hashtag going. I don't know what it's going to say, but I don't know how you say that, but...
Yeah.
Van Dam, Sabu, V. That's a little long for a hashtag.
V... I can't remember. I'm at...
Yeah. How about Van Darn, Boo Blue? I don't know. We'll come up with something. So...
that would have been fun. Do that in ECW Arena. The lights go out. The lights come on, and it's me, me as Sabu and him as Rob Van Darn.
Now, I don't know what the relationship's like these days between the MLW and Impact Wrestling, because I know that once upon a time they had a very nice relationship and people were working on each other's shows. We're on the MLW radio network, and that gives us no stroke, but... but I'm going to do everything I possibly can to see if we can't make this happen. This has to happen. Now I'm obsessed, and it has to happen. If nothing else, we're going to force Hal Haney to do one of those amazing. So he just did this awesome SummerSlam tag match, Heart Foundation versus Demolition, like a comic book cover. So cool.
Yeah.
We may have to price out what the match the Sabu Van Dam versus Van Dam Sabu looks like.
I would love him to just do a BWO like comic book cover too. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, come on, Hal.
Dude, Hal just got retweeted by The Rock.
Yeah, not just retweeted, whole shout out by The Rock too. Yeah,
Hal's
rightfully
amazing.
so. The dude's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, I'm not even joking when I say we pretty much talk every day. We got the same sense of humor, and we're memeing back and forth. But dude, I'm so happy for him, so proud for him. The work he's doing, the shout out, the recognition that he's getting.
Yeah, so incredibly talented. And again, I mean, Mind of the Meanie logo is Hal Haney. Just awesome logo. Set the tone for our show. Speaking of what sets the tone for our show, we've got 3 more questions here if you're up for it.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right, let's take a jump on over to Facebook. And we're going to start with Anthony Camarata. Like I said that? It's definitely wrong. Who I see here is a top fan on Facebook. So thank you very much. I didn't even know that we had that on our thing where it gave people top fan status. But thank you for being a top fan.
You're the man.
He asks, whose idea was it to do the can-can kicks at the end of Mick Foley's last match in ECW, and did you guys practice that beforehand?
No, that was all Mick. I don't know what they show on the network, but we did it live in the arena to Frank Sinatra's New York, because he was going to the WWF. And the can-can was just a tribute to, in New York, at Radio City Music Hall, the Rockettes. So that was our, back in the day, kid. When he said you were going to WWF, you're going, I'm going to work in New York now, even though they're based out of Connecticut. But I'm going to go work in New York. So he was going to New York, and he was like, he wanted me and Stevie to be a part of his farewell, which was awesome. Gave us a hell of a rub. Gave us some legitimacy in the eyes of the fans, and we did that. The can-can. We didn't practice. I don't think we may have done a walkthrough. I'm not sure, just to get our timing down. But that was fun, man. I still got the photo of that, and shout out to Mick Foley. Thank you for being so thoughtful. But that was all his idea, and that was awesome.
Christopher Lawrence, that's his name. What are the biggest fuck-ups the Meanie made in ring? What are some of the injuries he got? Well, you showed us on your summer cut on social media. You had posted a picture about some of your scars on your head. On Jeremy Borash Hardcore Homecoming show, the one in Philly. It was either a chair or a ladder shot got me right behind here, which I got 8 staples. And then, 2 nights later, I got the JBL thing happen. And then in ECW, I was BlueDust. There was like a cage match going on, and I don't know how I'd have to watch the show again. I went ringside. I was trying to do something, and Terry Gordy hit me with a metal trash can and hard-weighed me. And I have a lot of my scars have nicknames. Yeah,
they're like constellations on my head, and I have names from the constellations. I have the Terry Gordy, the Sandman. On my elbow, I have the Rob Van Dam from a chair shot or something like that. So all my scars have some kind of name, but I've never really been seriously injured. Like I said, on a previous episode, I went to do a moonsault against the Headbangers on a show in Maryland, indie show in Maryland. And as I was climbing the top rope, my knee pad slid down. I think the top rope hit my knee pad, slid it down. And there was a chair in the ring with the seat side down, which is more dangerous than the seat up. So I did a moonsault, and my knee, I couldn't, if I was trying to hit it, I couldn't hit it. The way my knee hit the corner of the chair upside down, and my knee just blew up like a grapefruit. And back then, everybody thinks wrestling's so glamorous. You know, I didn't have a car at the time, so I was busting it down there. Somebody would grab me at the bus stop and all that stuff. So on the way back to Philly, I'm hopping on the bus with this knee the size of a grapefruit, and I have to walk to the, the subway station to catch the, because I lived right near the subway at the time. And I had to work on that knee for like 2 months and stuff like that. So it's like, oh my God. So like, as far as injuries, that's about it, having to work through that knee pain. And, like I go do a moonsault and I couldn't properly jump off. So it would like turn into a half moonsault into a Randy Savage elbow. And people are like, oh man, that was a new move. Oh, cool. I was like, and I was always taught, like, if you fuck up and it looks good, just take credit for it. You know, ain't going to know.
Yeah, it's just something I've been working on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait until you see my Shooting Star Press version.
Yeah. Al Snow went to do a Sai moonsault at his wrestling school. It was like a student show or whatever. And, like, he overshot the guy and went into, like, a row of chairs. And one of the fans was like, man, that was so brave of you to do that moonsault into the chairs. He's like, oh, it's my art, yeah. Yeah. Just, if you fuck up and people say, oh, that looked great, be like, oh, yeah. Act like you meant it. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Be like a kid. Like,
wasn't sure how it looked, but.
Like George Carlin says about cats, they don't accept blame. They run to a wall. They go, oh, that's exactly how I wanted that to look. Just be a cat.
Yeah. Hey, we've talked about people who might not have enjoyed long road trips with you, but this next question flips the script. Lance Butler on Twitter, this is our last one here, at Lance BU 80 32 40 20. Are there meanings to those numbers, Lance? Let us know.
Should I play them?
Yeah.
In the lottery tomorrow, Lance?
Longest road trip you ever took for a booking and anyone you hated to ride with?
Well, I guess the longest trip would be we drove to New Orleans. And here's, again, like I said before, people think wrestling's so glamorous. At the time, I didn't have a car, so like every weekend for ECW, I would take a Greyhound from Philly to Toms River, and Nova would pick me up, and we'd go to wherever the booking was. So this time, I took a Greyhound from Philly, Toms River. Well, actually, I think it was Brick, New Jersey, whatever. He picked me up, stayed over at his house. Next day, me, Nova, and sound guy, Randy, the sound guy, become sound guy Randy, drove from Toms River, New Jersey to New Orleans. Okay. And we took going down, we stopped in Atlanta and stayed over and then drove the rest of the way the next day. But on the way home, we're like, fuck it. We're going to, go all the way through, right? So, and it was a typical post ECW show waiting to get paid thing where it's like, we're like, yeah, can we just get paid so we can start driving 23 hours back to whatever? And, they're like, oh yeah, we'll get you in a second. So it's the shows ended, at 11, maybe 11:30. We didn't, and we started fucking driving back at like maybe 1 a.m, 2 a.m. Man. And we're just going, we're like, fuck it, we're going to drive straight through, right? And on the way down, I drove, we had stopped and, on the way down, I went to Toms River, drove down with them. Halfway through, I was like, just drop me off in fucking Philly, please. and Randy, the sound guy, was kind of getting, like, we're like 23 hours into the trip and everybody's fucking tired, everybody's grumpy, everybody's stinky, and it's just like, let's get this fucking trip over. I was like, well, we gotta pass Philly anyway on the way to Toms River, because they would literally go over Delaware Bridge and hit 70 and 70 all the way across to Toms River. What's another 10 minutes? Just drop me off at Philly. And eventually, I talked to him into it enough to where, like, okay, he dropped me off, but he was like, he's never riding with me ever again. But which I wound up riding with him again anyway. But I never really hated driving with anybody or traveling with anybody because if I didn't like somebody, I just didn't travel with them. Mm-hmm. But traveling with Balls Mahoney was always an experience.
Imagine.
Dude, it was like the Cannonball Run without the the prize at the end, I guess. It's just like Guar on the radio. You're going down the Pennsylvania Turnpike 90 miles per hour towards Pittsburgh from Philly, and dude, I killed a shark with a spork. Whatever Balls Mahoney story you've ever heard, you heard on that trip. And I love Balls. Mahoney.
No, hey, we got that clip now. So.
Son of a bitch. Damn you, Roadcaster.
And we're live.
Hold on. I love Mahoney. So, I never hated driving with anybody, but riding with Balls Mahoney was an adventure, to say the least. And I've seen more of Mahoney than I've probably seen of any other human being.
Oh, God.
He's insane, or he was insane, and that's why we all love him and we all miss him. Balls Mahoney was like our mascot, that we kept in the locker room, and he would just say and do things that we were just like, oh my God. But fuck that show, That's So Raven. We should have a show, That's So Mahoney,
Yeah.
One show, and we did a show at the Golden Dome in Monaca, Pennsylvania, and he worked like second, like third or whatever. He got color. And he's walking around the whole night with his face with blood on his face. We're like, dude, go take a shower. I can't. Linda Ruffo wants to take photos of me for Japan. Like, wasn't she at ringside to take the photos? But I'm going to do some post photos. And like, dude, just go take a shower. It's like the show's over. We're waiting. He's sitting there on the floor covered in blood. And like, we're just waiting to get our checks. He's like, Paul, just pay me. Give me my money. I was like, dude, just go wash the blood off your face. He's just sitting there. Like, I was like, come on, man. That's so Mahoney. And there's really no bow to that story. It's just like one of those things that, like, if I see somebody from ECW and we just talk about these stories, like, but it's things that make you, it's the goofy shit that people do that make you love them.
Yeah.
So I miss them.
Well, awesome stories, and thank you everybody for the Ask Meanie. Again, it's hashtag Ask Meanie. You can put these out anytime. You don't have to wait for us to post that, although we do appreciate it. And if we don't get you 1 week, we'll get to you the next week.
It really is my favorite feature of the show. It really is my favorite feature of the show because, me and you are having a great conversation, but just to have the fans ask questions. And like I said, I totally forgot about Sablou and Rob Van Darn. So
I had never even heard of that, and it makes me sick to my stomach that it didn't happen, but it is going to happen. Right. If I have to dust off my old promoter's license, which I don't think is how you're allowed to promote things. I think you can't just dust off an old license. But right. I will bring back a show for one night only just to have you guys do this. I have to see this. I have to. And I feel like this day and age, so many years later, it has to be with them. It can't just be you guys showing up as that. It has to be with them. We're going to make this happen. We're going to figure it out. Question, though. They had Fonzie. Was there ever a conversation about if you guys would have had a Fonzie?
I don't know. I think, this was during the time when Fonzie was still with Taz.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Fonzie was still with Taz. This is before, this is like, I don't even know if Nova was in the fold yet. So, he might, yeah.
Well, you were planning on him being a part of it.
But I'm trying to think as far as timeline. We talked about this at a show at the Orange County Fairgrounds up in upstate New York. I remember that show, and I remember we came up with the idea that night. This is one of those weird one of those weird shows where the show was in one building, and we were in a horse barn across an aisle. You know, there was you had to go outside. You had to leave a horse barn, go outside, walk through a door, and do your ring entrance through a separate door. It was so weird.
That's something else.
ECW was something else.
Yeah. Oh, that's
but
that
that night, fucking Shane Douglas ribbed me because the locker room was so cold, and they had those heaters that shot flame.
Oh yeah, I think you may have told us that. Please share it again, though.
Yeah, he took my chair and put it in front. He moved my chair and my bag to look identical, but put it right in front of this heater, and he waited for me to go over. And not even thinking, I went over and sat on the chair. As soon as my ass hit the chair, I shot straight up because the chair was so hot from this heater, giving it a direct shot that he was like, I look around and you just hear, with this, the franchise laugh in the background. Shane was a good ribber. He'd walk around with a squirt bottle and go, if you weren't looking, you go, achoo, and hit with spray bottle and turn around and you're like, thinking he sneezed on you. I'm like, did you just sneeze on me? He's like, what? Fucking, I know it was you.
That one would not age well as a prank nowadays.
Somebody will do it.
Someone's got to do it. Just don't do it to me.
No, please don't.
Hey, I have a question. Do you think, let me try to get that out. Sneezes, do they have a smell to you?
Depends.
I believe I can smell a sneeze. It has almost a metallic-y type smell to it. I smell sneezes. And some people are just like, sneezes don't have a smell. And some people say, oh, yeah, they absolutely do.
Like, I think if it's like allergy season and like you got the buildup, I think you might emit like some kind of odor.
I don't know. It's just a smell. It's like it really is like a metallic-y, like you can walk in a room and be like, God, somebody smelled or somebody sneezed in here. It's disgusting.
I've never heard that before. But
now you have.
I'm trying to think of the psychology of it.
And you're worse off for it.
I'm trying to reverse engineer the booking on that fucking smell of a sneeze. But no, I don't know.
Man.
Hopefully people are still watching.
Let's check in.
Let's look in the window.
There. We only lost 100. No, we still got people watching, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Why are you guys still watching this? Thank you. No, we really do appreciate it. But I do think at the same time that I think that maybe it's time we start saying goodbye for the week.
Goodbye is always the hardest thing.
Yes. Unless you take Blue Chew and use the promo code Meanie. There you go. It still works.
Yeah.
Still works. Man, that about does it for us, though.
It's been a lot of fun.
This has been a blast. Awesome interview earlier, which I was really glad we were able to do, and glad that we were able to answer all these Ask Meanie Anythings. That's, like you said, it's always the most fun. Make sure to follow us on social media at Mind of the Meanie, and while you're at it, follow us as individuals. He can be found at Blue Meanie BWO on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I am at Says Shernoff on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Don't forget to visit mindofthemeanie.com. We've got this new website up there. That'll take you directly to all of our merch and our Patreon and all that stuff, and a couple little bios and beautiful pictures of us. Of course, go to prowrestlingtees.com/mindofthemeanie/ Blue Meanie BWO / So Says Shernoff. And of course, collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code Meanie and save yourself 10%. Right?
Absolutely, man. So thank you for all the support. Thank you for watching along. This is a brand new thing for us, man. Doing this live every Saturday. So thank you for investing your time. Thank you for listening to the podcast. And if we could ask one favor, spread the word.
Yeah, just keep telling people about it. If you feel so inclined, make sure to go to patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. But just our regular show and our youtube.com/mindofthemeanie. It's free to everybody. Enjoy it. And please, as Meanie said, spread the word. We really, really appreciate that. And I think for the Blue Meanie, I'm Josh Shernoff, and we will see you next Monday for another trip into the mind of the meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW radio never stops.